Hey everyone, welcome back to New Video Order. Is the thing on? Yep, our things are on. We are on.
Yep. That's good.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Arthur Robotnik. Welcome back to New Video Order. Let me go and take out these tweets for now, because we're going to have to come back to that in a bit. And we don't want to spoil the fun too early. But hey, how's everyone been? New Video Order's back.
Yeah, fine.
Alrighty. So how's your week been?
Fine, I guess. Let's see.
But yeah, basically this week I ended up playing through Mega Man 5 recently for the Game Boy, which I had never played that game before. And it's pretty good. I would say it's one of the franchise's hidden gems, if you'd ask me. Like,
yeah, Mega Man 5, yeah.
Yeah, Mega Man 5 is a pretty good hidden gem, and it's kind of like, if I get the idea where that more than likely was how they got some of the ideas for Mega Man 7 and 8, where, like, I saw the formula in there, which was kind of cool to see that originate there. I like the bosses, that I like how they were planetary themed, which was pretty cool. And I thought Sunstar was one hell of a final boss. He was pretty cool. Dicks out for Sunstar.
Yeah, dicks out for Sunstar.
And I really like the weapons. I especially love the upgrade of the Mega Buster and the Mega Arm, which was pretty cool. But it's, like, super busted as fuck. But yeah, that's about it. I also played a bit of Yo Noid this week because I was really fucking bored.
Yeah, I told him to.
And, it's alright. There's really not much to say about Yo Noid. It's a game based on the Noid from Domino's, and it's functional.
Yeah,
and
it works.
And, regretfully, I've come to announce this. I am no longer really a fan of Stuttering Craig, sadly.
Yeah, fuck him. I just want to get that out there.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, Stuttering Craig's kind of become one of those channels, and I don't like that, honestly. I really hate that. Sucks, because I loved his content growing up.
Nerds and game enthusiasts, one of them, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, which, obviously we're nerds and game enthusiasts, but not those nerds and game enthusiasts. We're not
like, again, if it's not the most straight, white, missionary bullshit, it's woke. But let's put it like that.
We're not geeks and gamers exactly here.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid saying the name, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. I'm gonna throw shade.
Yeah,
come on,
Craig.
Come on, Craig.
I don't like throwing shade, but no, I'll throw all the shade.
I'll throw shade at Craig because it's like I feel he's become my J.K. Rowling at this point.
Like for me, it's just like, again, I don't like throwing shade, but like if you're actually just supporting actual pieces of shit, then yeah, I'll throw fucking shit. I don't care.
Yeah. When's he gonna do the crossover with Chris Boers? Foreshadowing for a new video order down the line.
Like, honestly, they are kind of similar. I'm just gonna be honest. Him and Chris Boers would get along just fine.
The only difference that Chris Boers has really gone off the fucking deep end lately, but we'll discuss that when we new video order his ass.
Yeah. I have been playing the original Turok with new controls. Pretty good. I got through most of it without a guide, but I'd say like around like the 5th or 6th level, it gets pretty freaking labyrinthian, but that's just also me not playing a lot of FPSs. And I got the Chronoceptor, the unlockable weapon they had found all the pieces for. Like, I was able to get them all without a guide, except for piece number 7, which is just straight up hidden in shit that looks like lava. So I'm just like, because these fucking games need like strategy guides anyway, so whatever. And
it was like also part of that Doom era where like everyone was like trying to make like almost every FPS was kind of like labyrinthian anyway.
Yeah, and again, the game's great actually. Like I really like I do like the sense of speed and the level design for the most part. It is interesting to have like an FPS kind of work more like a platformer.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Because you usually don't get that because like FPSs are usually bad about platforming, but the thing is, Turok has a really good map that actually like makes platforming easier because you can see where you're going to land.
That's cool. I've been meaning to play the Turok games at some point, but I just never got around to it.
Just get the remasters on.
Oh yeah, because like I heard the original Turok control scheme is fucking terrible.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. For some reason, they had the PS4 version had like motion controls on default, but I turned them off. But so it's not that big of a deal.
I'll probably try it via the PC version so I could use a mouse and keyboard because I like doing that with the old school shooters. But I might take a look at it on Switch so I can have it on the go. It sucks what I heard about Night Dive recently, though.
Yeah, they got acquired by NFTari.
Yeah, which Atari nowadays, it's not even the real Atari. That Atari at that point, like, it's not the same Atari that happened, like, 40 years ago.
Yeah, the people like Nolan Bushnell were far gone. Speaking of Nolan Bushnell, I've been watching Chuck E. Cheese fights. We'll get to that another time.
Oh, yeah. For those that don't know, Nolan Bushnell actually founded Chuck E. Cheese.
This is just like our Marvel movie, okay? This is us
setting up the Avengers, except instead of that, it's just Chuck E. Cheese fights and Chris Bohr's going off the fucking deep end.
This is just our, like, again, this is absolutely just our Ant-Man and Wasp. We're just this podcast just exists to set up other podcasts.
It's like the stinger to Iron Man 1, which sets up Avengers 2012.
Yeah.
But yes, and I know someone's go, oh, you only hate Craig because of his politics. Partially, but not necessarily true, because allow me to introduce the horseshoe theory with today's subject, Bob Chipman, as seen by these fucking tweets right here.
Yeah.
And of course, it immediately lands on the eugenics tweet that he has, because for those that don't know, Bob Chipman supports eugenics.
For those who don't also know, eugenics is a discredited science because it was heavily used by the bad people in World War II.
Yes. Which is, Bob says he hated how they were tainted. For those that don't know who Bob Chipman is, Bob Chipman you might know him by his famous alias of MovieBob. And to be honest, Bob I have conflicting respect for when it comes to his actual content. And I know someone's going to say, what do you mean? He's a terrible person by these tweets. It's like, yeah, but you watch his content, he's an okay film critic. Like, I've seen a few of his reviews, he's alright unless he's heavily biased against something, in which, in that case, he could get really insufferable. But Bob has some good points every now and then.
My favorite is his Eggman should kill all the Sonic characters.
Oh yeah, let's get into that. He's fine when he's talking about movies. When it comes to Game Overthinker, things get hairy.
It is telling he has retired Game Overthinker at this point, but it's still worth pointing out because he still has a lot of isms there. It
doesn't really help that like MovieBob has like this weird contempt to modern gaming, and I can understand hating hardcore gamers because again we talked about Adam Sessler last time.
Yeah.
Which if you want to know how bad toxic gaming can get, look no further than like 2000's X-Play with Adam Sessler. Or just watch last week's New Video Order.
Yeah. Again, this is just to set up other shit.
Well, it's not really setting up other shit because this is us talking about just Adam Sessler.
Well, yeah, but if you can't enjoy this podcast as you saw last week's, I guess.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Well, it's continuity lockout at this point. There's just so much continuity.
We're just becoming the MCU at this point. I don't care.
Don't you mean the MCU, according to these idiots? Except for Bob.
Yeah. I don't think we've had a single girl or New Video Order, though.
Yeah, that'll probably change at some point. Probably.
Yeah, probably. I'd be fine with that.
Oh, yeah, I'd be fine with it. We know some people won't because, it's woke, but it's like, who fucking cares? People have already called me woke.
Yeah, New Video Order became woke because we got a woman in.
People have already called me woke.
Fucking bad news for them, then.
People have already called me woke for my Twisted Metal reviews. I think at this point we can handle that. But anyway, Bob Chipman, Game Overthinker. Bob tries to overanalyze video game trends, but I feel like Bob isn't that well equipped to do it because for him, at this point, gaming is a tertiary hobby for him, which is fine. You don't have to be a hardcore gamer to talk about video games, in my opinion. Especially if it's your hobby. But Bob has a very heavy bias to retro video games, which again, I get it. He grew up with the NES, and that's totally fine. I still like the PS1 primarily as, my gaming console of choice. I love the PS1 to death. It is a great console. But I don't, have this contempt to modern gaming as a whole.
Yeah, it's like it's really telling too, because one of the I kid you not, one of the subplots for Game Overthinker, like one of the storylines, because this is during the time all interviewers had storylines. But one of them was like basically a gamer from the past came to the future.
Oh yeah, the retro thinker.
Yeah, retro thinker. He saw how gaming is dead.
Yeah, and he sees like how Sonic
tried, self-deporting. Like, I kid you not. This actually happened.
And not only that, it's like
off a building.
And not only that, it's like they try to have it where like, oh, Sonic got really bad, which I'm pretty sure by the time he did the Retro Thinker, we had Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors, which were well-received games.
Yeah.
And they're very good Sonic games, I might add, too.
Yeah.
Like, some of the writing in Colors is hit or miss, but the gameplay itself is fine. Get over it.
All I know here is bass. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the deepest line.
It invented comedy.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Baldy McNosehair, we wouldn't have Pickle Rick.
Exactly.
But yeah,
it's literally a domino effect. But anyway,
yeah, it's literally it's the snowball effect.
Yep.
But yeah, but Bob has this weird bias to Sonic, which we'll also discuss because it's worth pointing out here. Bob really hates almost all 3D Sonic games.
Yeah, which, just like Sessler.
Yeah. But Bob has, like, this weird bias because, he likes Sonic Adventure 1, which, is fair. Sonic Adventure 1's a pretty good game. But he hates Adventure 2 solely because of Shadow, which I think is a stupid argument. Because Shadow himself isn't necessarily a bad character, exactly. It's like,
they didn't know what to do with him for years.
Yeah,
after.
It's like Shadow the Hedgehog is a shit game. I will 100% say that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would argue Shadow is a character. It just depends on who's writing him.
Yeah.
But let's also really discuss Bob's politics, because we're going to have to go into that. Bob is ostensibly left-wing, but it seems that he has, like, weirdly fascistic views at points. And seems to confirm the horseshoe theory at bits. Like, again, him being, man, I wish we had eugenics, where it's like, Bob, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, for real.
Like, that's a discredited science because that harmed people that had disabilities.
Yep.
And it was considered ableist. And not only that, there's no actual science in eugenics.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't discredited by racists, it was discredited by actual fucking science, Bob.
Okay.
And as you can see from some of these tweets,
I wasn't okaying that. I was like...
I know you weren't saying okay to Bob.
Yeah, but it's like... no. That's not how that freaking works. Like, what are you wanting from eugenics, exactly?
He wants smart people, which pretty much is a disdain for the blue-collar class. Oh, I see. Yep, someone's excited that we're talking about Brick by Brick.
Yep.
We're getting to Brick by Brick soon, don't worry. We gotta talk about Bob himself to provide context to this fucking book, because we have to discuss, because it's worth pointing out Bob's thought patterns, especially at the time that he wrote the book, which, granted, he has disowned the book nowadays, but I still want to talk about the book, because this book is a fucking trash fire.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just funny to talk about. Oh, hey, Triple Flurple, how you been?
Hey.
Anyway, the biggest problem with, also with MovieBob is that Bob, like, really has such a disdain for, most of middle America. And it's like, what did they do to you, Bob?
How did they hurt you?
Like, Bob feels like the kind of guy that never grew up from high school and still whines about jocks, even though high school happened, like, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, he reminds me a lot of how I was when I was 17, but if I never moved on. But anyway, like, Bob also has a lot of, like, Bob's just a weird guy. And again, it's like, I respect Bob to an extent, because I think some of his movie reviews are interesting. Like, I watched his prelude to Really That Bad on Batman v Superman, and he actually talks about how it was something that he didn't really want to do, unless it's a movie that he felt was, really that bad, because Bob's not a fan of the caustic critic trope, which I think is totally fair. Especially because the caustic critic shtick at this point has kind of been overdone, And most people kind of suck at being James Rolfe, obviously. Like Chris Morris.
I'm not going to bring him up. I guess you were.
Of course I had to. Or you had
Fair.
the game dude, who is so rude. Which we'll definitely discuss him at some point. We're really setting up these future podcasts.
Yeah, again, this is just our Ant-Man. This is a worthless
The
podcast.
new
We already
video
covered
order
this.
podcast universe. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, again, this is just a worthless podcast.
But anyway, Bob, again, I liked watching Bob talk about, like, his analysis of why he felt like he was going to tear this movie apart, but he does it in a constructive manner. Like, he avoids insulting everyone, and he outright says Zack Snyder, in his opinion, is a genuinely good director, for what it's worth. So it's like, I think it is kind of cool that he doesn't, like, go out of his way to go, man, look at these lazy directors. It's more he just feels like Zack Snyder was not suited for characters like Batman and Superman, which I think is a totally fair opinion. But then again, you get, like, his stuff like his Sonic the Hedgehog review, where he reviewed the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It's just him bitching about the movie endlessly. I mean, I'm not going to say Sonic 1 and 2 are exactly what I deem the greatest movies ever made. Not exactly. But they were pretty fun movies to at least go see if you're a Sonic fan, which obviously I am.
But he has a massive hate boner for Sonic,
Yeah,
so that wasn't the case.
Because it's not Mario. And if this Mario movie that's coming up isn't good, I guarantee he will probably not like it.
Yeah.
Or he'll probably like it anyway because it's Mario, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this movie's going to be fine.
We'll see what happens.
Which I can't wait for the movie to come out, actually. It's going to be pretty fun to see.
Yeah, honestly. Animation-wise, it looks good.
Oh, yeah. But, like, it is worth pointing out, because he discusses this in the book, which we'll get into in a bit. I'm really ready to dive into this fucking book. Just want to make sure no one else is hopping in before we do it, but it seems like it's just going to be us tonight.
Yep.
Which is fine. We got plenty to talk about. But yeah, MovieBob has got some stuff. Oh boy, the Onoid gameplay's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, I think we got some of Bob out of the way. Oh yeah, there was like another thing I remember him saying. I'm really trying to remember what it was, but it was just like one of the. Let me like type in MovieBob tweets because it. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Bob's so like oddly fascistic that there was a quiz floating around the internet titled "Who said this, MovieBob or the Nazi Party?" And I ended up taking the test. I got 50% of the answers right. Most of the quotes I thought MovieBob said were either attributed to the Nazi Party, or most quotes I thought were attributed to the Nazi Party came from MovieBob. That says a lot. Anyway, MovieBob tweets.
For real.
Like, the fact that I got 50% of the answers correct. Oh, yeah. MovieBob frequently talks about, like, people that disagree with him as failed humans, which is an unearned, like, sense of superiority. Oh, yeah. That reminds me. Let me. Sigh. Imagine how annoying the goobers cluttering up my mentions would be if I could bring myself to think of them as humans. That sounds like that sounds like a quote from Dracula from Symphony of the Night.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to find like one of his like worst fucking tweets because there was like one tweet he had that was. What is like that one I'm trying to find? There's like one tweet. Like, sorry if I'm kind of like. There's like some I'm really trying to find that was like one of his worst fucking tweets. I need to like dig it up real quick.
Yeah.
But if I can't find it, I'll just simply fucking like paraphrase it because it was like really bad. Okay, I don't think I'm able to find it. But basically, he said he wished that intelligence tests returned for voting.
Which it's like, Bob!
It's like, Bob, you know why those were discontinued,
realize the
right?
reason why those things existed? That wasn't a good thing!
Like, the reason why intelligence tests existed was to prevent minorities from voting, Bob.
Yeah!
Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, shall we dig into brick by brick?
Yeah.
Alright.
How should we do it, though? Okay, yeah, that's obvious, but...
Brick by Brick is ostensibly a book about Super Mario Bros. 3, which he deems the greatest video game ever made, which, very fair opinion. I love Mario 3. It's a great game.
Yeah.
And he has on the back of the book, in 1988, Mario was soaring both in popularity and through the skies of his new game, Super Mario Bros. 3. Decades later, this game still holds a place to honor as one of the greatest games ever made, long after video game technology has advanced by leaps and bounds. In this book, Bob Chipman explores the history of Mario, recaps his experience with the iconic plumber, and examines Super Mario Bros. 3 in great detail. Every enemy, level, and power. He examines each twist and turn, notes which developments would change the industry for years to come, and why this game still holds up decades after it's released. Bob Chipman is best known for his weekly programs as the Game Overthinker at ScrewAttack.com and as MovieBob at The Escapist, EscapistMagazine.com. I want you to remember how he's going to simply examine the game in great detail, because he doesn't really do that in this. Like, as Terrible Book Club pointed out, shout out to Terrible Book Club, watch that podcast, it is fucking excellent.
Oh, yeah.
This reads more like a text-based walkthrough you would read on Something Awful back in the day, rather than an actual serious analysis of the video game.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, if you want a serious analysis of Mario 3, I'd highly recommend you just watch James Rolfe review instead.
Like, honestly.
Like, he only reviews the game for, like, 5 minutes, but you get more out of, like, why Mario 3 is good outside of reading this pile of fucking trash.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for starters, like, let's just go through the dedications real quick. Where he simply goes, this book is dedicated to Shigeru Miyamoto for saving my life more times than he knows, and beneath Shigeru Miyamoto is his actual family members.
Yeah.
That would be like me writing an autobiography and putting David Jaffe at the top of my dedication.
Oh god, imagine!
This book is dedicated to David Jaffe for giving me my creative juices and making my Twisted Metal retrospective a reality.
Oh my god.
And David Jaffe be like, dude, I don't know who the fuck you are.
Oh yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I think we can get rid of the MovieBob tweets for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is like, god damn, Bob. You're seriously gonna put Shigeru Miyamoto over fucking your parents?
Yep.
Like, what, did Mario 3 be like this great revolution in like everything? Did it literally change your life?
Did Mario 3 fucking birth you?
Where was Mario 3 during Hurricane Katrina, eh?
Oh god. No, that's a reference to the podcast we did last week.
Oh, and for those that go, oh, you're being hyperbolic. Oh, wait till we really dig into this book. Because this thing is fucking just bonkers. Because it's not really just about Mario 3, but it's also part autobiography of MovieBob's life.
Yeah.
Which is very off topic about Mario 3. But oddly, it's the more interesting part of the book. Because when he finally gets around to talking about Mario 3, I'm like, this is the most boring shit I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, like, honestly, his life biography is way more interesting.
And I mean, I don't even mean that in like a backhanded compliment. It's genuinely the most interesting part of the book.
Yep.
And this feels like it should have just been MovieBob's autobiography, not a critical analysis of Super Mario Bros. 3. Because again, it seems that film analysis is his forte, not video game analysis.
Yeah.
As we'll get into here. But let's take a look at page 11. Let's see. Page 11. Immediately there's simply cases like, he's talking about shot-by-shot analysis for film analysis, and he decides why not do that for video games. So he decides to write a book about Mario 3. And it's like, if you're wondering, they do write stuff about video games. It's just usually articles you would read on game journalist sites like Kotaku or IGN. Not really a whole thing on a book. Like, no one's going to write a book on Twisted Metal 2, for example.
Yeah, unless it's maybe about, like, the development history, but even then.
And it's like, there's not really a lot of development history to cobble together a book for Twisted Metal 2, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be one thing, like, if, like, I could see someone writing a book on, say, Duke Nukem Forever's development history, because that game's development history is a fucking nightmare. But yeah, it's just like, it's just, Bob, there's a reason people didn't do this. It's because it's not a good idea. As we'll really get into with page 4.
There's a reason why games are a different art form, because, again, they're experienced different from, movies and all that.
Yeah.
That's why you don't have, like, Let's Watches that and,
like, there's never, like, a Let's Watch of fucking Star Wars, for example, because you watch the movie Star Wars, you get your experience.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, granted, you do have some, like, there's like director's commentary, but again, that's someone who worked on the movie.
Yeah, and that's just them talking about, like, hey, this is what I wanted to do here, but I couldn't do it because the special effects weren't available. Or, hey, this was a pretty fun thing to work with. I loved working with this guy, great guy. By comparison, us playing video games, it's like we're not gonna have us talk about, we're not gonna watch a fucking Bruce Lee movie, but we'll play fucking Tekken. Because you get a different experience watching people play video games because, oh, how does that match go? Oh, that's an awesome palm mirror. Awesome.
Yeah, but again, that's more like competitive commentary.
Yeah.
Versus, like, again, you can't really do that in a book.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that Death Fist in that Tekken tournament was really special.
Man, that guy really mistimed his electric, said, Mark, man.
Yep.
Man, Ryan Hart. Why did I confuse it? Why did I confuse the Tekken player with Sony's current CEO?
Oh my god.
But anyway, it's like, not to mention, he goes through a history of Mario, which, hey, he does mention that it's old hat for a lot of people, but hey, he's got to talk about how Mario, came to be for the people that don't know about Mario, which is totally fine, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Mario's arguably the most famous character of video games, but what if you didn't play video games and you want to know why Mario's a big deal? This is important, but it seems like a lot of these facts are poorly researched in areas.
Yeah.
Because he gets shit wrong.
Again, this is when the internet was around, so
yeah.
it's not
I'd like to point out this book came out in 2013.
Yeah, it's like, if this was like maybe in the 90s, I could understand, because, the internet was barely a thing.
Oh yeah, I agree, Neil. MSC3K is a great, Let's Watch show, but that's more people making fun of bad movies.
Yeah. MSC3K is different.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a history of the movie through MST3K. They're just here to make fun of it.
Yeah, it's usually movies that are somewhat in the public domain anyway, or movies they explicitly got the rights to make fun of too.
That, or it's just a commentary track.
Yeah. Well, that's like riff tracks, but anyway.
Well, yeah, same people though.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But yeah, here in this book, he calls Miyamoto an iconoclast.
Oh my god.
Which is not the word I would use for Miyamoto. He's certainly an innovator, but an iconoclast is someone that would essentially bring an iconoclast would be in the episode of The Simpsons, Lisa the iconoclast, where she knew, oh, Jebediah Springfield was actually a fucking pirate, not a national fucking hero.
Yeah, it's revealing something, revealing a big secret or something.
It's more just toppling a fucking status quo.
Oh, yeah.
I know someone say that we're probably that this is exactly what Terrible Book Club said. It's yeah, but I mean at the same time, he's misusing a fucking word. Anyone's gonna bring that up at this point.
This is a book. They're all words.
Yeah. And it's I'm going to call him out for misusing the term iconoclast, because even I wouldn't say that about, an innovative developer. I'm not going to call David Jaffe an iconoclast for coming up with car combat.
Yeah.
That would just be fucking stupid.
That's just, such a weird, title to give, a game developer.
He's just really giving Miyamoto more importance than he actually deserves, and it's Miyamoto is certainly one of the most innovative developers. Do not get us wrong on that. Miyamoto is absolutely one of the most important developers. He innovated in a lot of areas that are really hard to imagine nowadays.
Yeah.
Gaming would be so different if we didn't have Miyamoto. And as we see with Donkey Kong, it's one of the first video games that actually had a proper narrative, obviously.
Yeah.
Where it's hey, save the lady from the Donkey Kong. And he also discusses Donkey Kong's origin as, hey, Nintendo made a shit ton of radar scopes that flopped in America. Hey, let's just make a new game that could, use the radar scope hardware so it could sell these shit.
Yeah.
And, hey, we got and it's he also brings up the whole, how it initially began as a, where he was hey, I'm going to try to license Popeye, but the license fell through. But instead of, being dejected, it's hey, I'll just retool them in my own characters. So instead of, Bluto, we have Donkey Kong. Instead of Olive, we had Pauline. And instead of Popeye, we have Mario. But then, like, this thing ends up, like, just kind of... Like, he really gives Mario way too much fucking, like, self-importance. Also, because, like, he and Bob were, like, born the same year.
Oh, God.
And it's like, I can't imagine a world without Mario, because he's been there my whole life.
I mean, so have I,
Yeah,
but, like...
But it's like, he's been there, like, literally, like, the year he came out.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm South Park years old, but I don't go, man, I can't imagine a world without South Park, because that would just be stupid.
Fucking weird.
Yeah. Like, that'd just be me giving South Park way too much, like, unearned self-importance.
It's like, thank you, Matt and Trey Parker, for saving my life.
More times than one. I don't even know you. Man, I can't imagine a world without Twisted Metal. Actually, I can, because we're living in one right now.
Yeah.
Make a new Twisted Metal, damn it.
Yep.
Get to it.
Yep.
Anyway. Let me, like, relook through this. Let me take a look. Okay, page 17, first paragraph. That's what I wrote, like, important pages. But yeah, in Japan... Oh yeah, he brings up immediately, like, the Mario 2 thing. Like, you know, how obviously Lost Levels was... Like, made in Japan is, like, the true, like, sequel. Like, how Lost Levels was, like, way too hard for Americans.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, here's Doki Doki Panic. Where it's like, if this was 2008, this would be, you know, innovative trivia. But it's like, by 2013, I would argue, like, Doki Doki Panic being Mario 2 was, like, common knowledge at that point.
Yeah.
Like, he brings up, like, in a good amount, and it's like, come on, man. It's no longer, like, obscure knowledge.
Yeah.
But he does bring up how, like, Mario 2 being different, like, could show, hey, gamers could accept sequels being different from the original, which is totally fair. And I would argue, yeah, Mario 2 is a good game. I like Mario 2. I'd rather play it than Lost Levels, because Lost Levels sucks ass.
Yeah.
Because it's way too fucking hard.
Yep.
But now he says that Mario ascends to pop culture godhood.
Mario the God.
Mario's like, Gil, kneel before your master. Hang on a second, I'm gonna go get a quick drink real quick.
Okay. So, yeah.
Alright, I'm back. I just had to get a water.
Luigi, you gotta kneel before me.
Luigi, look, I've mastered the seraphic wing.
Oh, Mario, I'm gonna become the king of the Illuminati.
No, Mario. No, Luigi. I am the Emperor of the Illuminati. You're merely the president.
You can't do that, Mario.
Luigi, I can. I am the Illuminati.
Oh.
We're the lizard people that Chris Boars believes in.
We had to get one more in.
It wasn't intended, but it was perfect.
Yeah, again, tune in to later podcasts.
We don't know whatever it will be, but it'll happen.
It's gonna happen.
But yeah, he talks about how Mario's now, like, merchandise to hell and back, which, to be fair, he does have a slight point about Mario ascending to some sort of, like, pop culture superstardom, because Mario became not just a video game, but a franchise at that point. Like, he was plastered on everything, and we had stuff like the cartoons, which, if you ask me, I like Super Show. It's alright.
Yeah, Super Show's pretty good.
Like, it's certainly not what I call, like, one of the most top-tier cartoons. Oh, God, no. But it's a fun
remember
watch.
that episode where like the villain wasn't even like King Koopa, but like her whole plan was like she was going to drug this dude into loving her, and she ended up accidentally doing that to Mario. But then the ending of the episode was just straight up, oh, let's just drug the prince and her and just have them just fall in love with each other.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, that's an episode.
The scary part is I don't know if you're joking or not, and that's
okay. It's a love potion subplot. It's a love potion plot. Okay?
Yeah, I know it's a love potion, but it's like I figured it was a love potion, but it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I do remember it now. Thank you, Blacksmith. Yeah, it was the Romeo and Juliet parody.
Like it was just like it was this chick named Queen Rotunda, and like her whole thing is that she's fat, but she's not really fat. She just has massive fucking tits. I'm not even joking. She just has like massive fucking honkers that are like the size of like like half her fucking body. Hang on, I'm gonna get a fucking picture of her.
Okay, because this sounds like because the thing is, it's like the thing with the super shows that there's stuff you could say that sounds absolutely fucking fake, but it's actually real.
Also, let's not. Yeah, speaking of, I also want to talk about the most fucked up episode.
Is it the one where Bowser's in a diaper?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, where Bowser's kidnapping a bunch of babies.
And his whole thing is like, you babies will do all my work while I play. And for the record, Bowser is not a baby in the episode.
Yeah, it's just like that Yakuza subplot.
It is straight just be my baby the episode.
We'll discuss this more next time because we are going to do a new video order on video game cartoons.
Oh yeah. I need to give you the picture quick. Yeah,
but let's get back on track because he does discuss like the Mario stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what can't be argued is this game's release coincided with Mario's ultimate attempt to because Mario and his cohorts would appear in a delusion of successful TV shows, spin-offs, and licensed products. His face adorned posters, birthday cakes, and Happy Meal toys. Children dressed up as him for Halloween and scrawled the titles of his games on letters to Santa. Which, hey, totally, like, it's fair. Like, Mario was a great game. Like, again, it is, like, one of those that is easy to kind of underestimate. The NES was actually really fucking huge in the 80s. Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it wasn't like nowadays where, here's people playing the PlayStation, here's people playing the Xbox, here's people playing the Switch. No, you're either playing the NES or you weren't playing video games at all. Unless you're one of those weirdos with the Commodore 64 playing Maniac Mansion.
Yeah.
And I know I'm probably like pissed off viewers that are like 40 years old, like my dad, but whatever. And even then, my dad had the NES and he was playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, so...
Listen up, you son of a bitch. The Commodore 64 was prime gaming.
Look, man.
You weren't there. Oh, Lord.
Mr. Gunn.
How dare you? How dare you put Mr. that
Gunn.
filth here?
We are not new video
great,
order.
But how dare you? God damn it. Oh my god.
I think I'm okay. I'm okay now.
Okay, good.
Oh god!
Oh my god, are you okay?
I think I'm fine. Bust a wolf!
Good.
I'm trying to find like one sentence, but anyway. But yeah, he's just but yeah. Now he's talking about how Super Mario Bros. 3 is about to come out. In 1989, impending release of Super Mario Bros. 3 is considered at such an incredible magnitude that an entire feature film, The Wizard, was produced on the pretext that kids would catch mere moments of gameplay during its climax. Which, to be fair, that was the big deal about The Wizard. You would go there to see the Mario 3 preview, because back then you didn't really have video game trailers.
Yeah.
And we're gonna. I want you to remember that. We're gonna come back to that in a bit because he doesn't talk about it a bit. But I want you to really know this one thing that's coming up.
Oh yeah.
Because holy shit, this gets nuts.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, this is where he's talking about the console wars. Oh, good.
Oh, let's talk about the console wars.
But yeah, he's just talking about, okay, this is just basically him going over like the console wars briefly. This is like where we get to the really good bit.
Okay. All right. So, what's the next really good part about this? Let me.
Page 22. Page 22, middle paragraph.
Okay, 22, middle paragraph.
Oh yeah, this is where he's talking about New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Oh, that's my fan. Let me turn it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had my fan, and sometimes the thing starts squeaking randomly. I need to get that looked at someday.
Yeah.
But I have my AC is kind of cool down the room, so I don't need the fan. I see this room cold because the computer would overheat otherwise. Because my office has like literally the shittiest insulation possible.
I see.
Yeah, because it has like windows surrounding it.
Yeah.
So it's like cold as shit outside. It gets cold as shit in the office, no matter what I have the heat set to. If it's hot as shit outside, the office gets a little warm. Despite what I have the AC set to, so I had to have like the AC set super cold. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna get it tightened down. I'm probably just gonna buy an AC unit, like a small, like I'm probably just gonna buy a small regular AC unit for this area.
Yeah. So
I would like to point out, yeah, this book does predate the Switch because the Wii U is like the newest console at the point.
Yeah.
So I believe actually we need to really, because he's talking about like he's really like sucking off Miyamoto, which is not exactly fair. Because it's like he's just giving Miyamoto like unneeded self-importance again. Like it's just like I remember like one of his Game Overthinker videos has it like, oh sorry Chief, I can't hear you with Miyamoto's balls all up in your mouth, and it's like I can't help but agree with his straw man.
Yeah, it's like this the game anti-thinker who loves Call of Duty, Halo, and FPSs
and like sports games and shit too.
Yeah, and has a tapped out shirt, and he talks like a dude, bro.
And apparently he's supposed to be Razor Fist, even though Razor Fist fucking hates Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like Razor Fist, but if you're gonna fucking parody the guy, get it right.
Oh, yeah. It's like, how did you mess that up? Oh, wait, I know how. But,
yeah, because it's like Bob only saw that Razor Fist was...
Oh, if you don't like Mario, you must like Call of Duty.
The funny thing is that Razor Fist is actually a huge Nintendo fan.
Oh, my God.
So it's like, he got it completely wrong.
That's great. That is great.
Like, it's like, I don't even like Razor Fist, but it's like, get it fucking right. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Page 26, first paragraph. Mario and I were born the same year, 1981. I'm about 5.5 months older, and as such, I don't really remember a world without him. That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But he does talk about, like... Let's see, arcade games were fairly common then, so I'd certainly seen the Donkey Kong machine about, and I distinctly remember Mr. Rogers once demonstrating how arcade cabinets work via that same machine. I did look up that clip after I read that, because I was curious about what it looked like, and it was actually a really good, wholesome bit. I'm not going to lie. I actually really like watching it. Well, yeah, it's Mr. Rogers, but it's actually really interesting seeing it, like, it was one of the most relaxing things I think I've ever seen in my life, honestly.
Yeah, that's Mr. Rogers for you.
Yeah, and you also have, you also have a brief cameo of Keith David in there, too.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because he was Keith, who was the coin collector.
Huh.
So it's cool to see like a young Keith David there before he was spawned.
Yeah, before he became like the president of Twisted Metal.
I was gonna say
Twisted Metal. Why did I say Twisted Metal? I say Bro.
I was about to say the president of Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah, and before he became King Andreas.
The president of Twisted Metal. Man, I didn't know Keith David was Calypso. That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sick. But like, why did I say that? I meant Saints Row. When he was the vice president of Saints Row. Yeah. Okay, that was it.
The president of Twisted Metal.
Yeah, I'm the president of Twisted Metal. I deem these games open.
I give these games my badass seal of approval.
Yeah.
Now we need Angry Joe and Twisted Metal also.
Please, I'd play that.
I would play the hell out of that. Have this card be called Warhead.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, but yeah, he was talking about like He-Man was his thing at the time before Mario.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, He-Man was like a popular thing. Like my brother fucking loves He-Man, and he's like around Bob's age too.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that was the style of the time.
Yeah, like how I even went and got my brother He-Man DVDs for Christmas just because, hey, I know you like He-Man.
Yeah, it's like He-Man's fun.
Yeah, He-Man's cheesy as hell, but I love it for that reason.
Yeah,
honestly.
Skeletor, and you end up feeling bad for Skeletor. It's great.
Oh yeah, I love it. Like so many kids at the time like wrote letters and like, can Skeletor fucking win once?
Yeah, so they just had him team up with He-Man sometimes just so he could get an effing win.
But anyway, let's get back to Toy Story.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's talking about,
there's just so much interesting to talk about.
Yeah, because it's like if we're getting off topic, that's because Bob's getting off topic way more in this fucking book.
Yeah, again, half this book is just Bob's life story.
Half this book is just Bob rambling insane to the fucking asylum doctor.
Yeah. Is Mr. Miyamoto in here with us? I stole that from someone else, but that's still funny.
Bob, this is serious, man. Oh, back to the Mega Man 5 footage. This game's secretly good, play it. It's the hidden gem of Mega Man.
Oh, yeah. Alright. So are we almost at the point?
MovieBob, 3 months in the nut house.
Bob so gave me an offer. Either no more the pain would stop and eugenics would be real, or no more Mario. Well, man has to have his priorities.
Yeah, MovieBob killed Calypso as well as he killed anyone. It has the vial of Razor Fist in the blood. But yeah, now he's talking about the video game crash, which, hey, you gotta talk about the video game crash at that point. It's important to talk about Nintendo's rise to power.
Yeah, which again, even though it wasn't the only real reason for it, it was kind of like it was the reason why console gaming.
Well, he's not talking about like E.T. being like the sole cause of the crash.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. But like granted, Nintendo was a huge part of why consoles came back, but the PC market was mostly fine.
Oh yeah, the PC market was fine, but the PC market was like a niche upon niches even at the time.
Oh yeah. I just figured that was worth pointing out.
It is absolutely worth bringing up. But that's why I mentioned more like console gaming specifically, not gaming as a whole, because arcades are still around. Like my dad frequently mentioned his local convenience store in New Jersey. That was literally right down from his house. Had punch out cabinets in there.
Yeah, it was just
alongside Mat Mania, which is an old school wrestling game.
Yeah,
it was still common to find arcade games. Some of the best arcade games even came out 1983 to 1985. Dragon's Lair, Paperboy, shit like that.
I think even Code Monkeys had it. Yeah, even Code Monkeys kind of pointed that out in there. Kind of had that as a plot point in their Game Crash episode.
Yeah.
Where it's yeah, console gaming died, but Dave went to the arcade and there was the game that he created there.
Bob Chipman is a pseudonym. His real name's actually Robert Kane.
Oh my god, yes.
But what tooth is he? Rotten Tooth.
I'd say Bob Tooth. I don't care. It's
Bob
not creative,
Tooth.
but I don't care. It's
Bob
not creative,
Tooth.
but I don't care.
Bob Tooth, perfect.
Retro
Tooth,
Retro Tooth, yeah.
Is there anti-tooth?
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, he's talking about how the NES didn't really initially didn't excite him until he played because he thought the Zapper was lamer than Optimus Prime. He would always say that Optimus Prime was cooler than Rob, which I agree with 100%.
He is.
Rob sucks. Rob is trash, especially in Smash.
Yeah, exactly. No one likes Rob.
Yeah, Rob is a shit character. Kazuya is an honest character compared to Rob.
K-Rool's pretty honest.
Kazuya is super honest. He's just not going to sugarcoat it.
K-Rool is just gonna wreck it.
Oh, hey, Sunstar's coming out.
Oh no, Sunstar! No, watch out! Oh no, he's got iPods in.
He's about to blast Dr. Wily.
No, Sunstar!
No, Sunstar's killing Wily.
Most tragic character ever since the infected chopper in DMC 2.
Man, his story's more sad than Axel in Twisted Metal Black.
Yep.
But
anyway, we should probably get back on time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I found the best sentence. But I remember exactly when I was first connected with the NES, because also the moment I first discovered Mario.
Oh.
Now this is where it gets good. And he says, while his mother's chatted, his friend had something he wanted to show him in the kitchen, the NES, with Mario Brothers. And he said he was captivated immediately because he had never seen a video game before look like that. Which, to be fair, Super Mario Brothers was a genuinely revolutionary deal, as I will discuss in my
Absolutely.
Which I will definitely discuss more in my upcoming Super Mario Brothers review, which should be out by next week. Oh my god, that felt bad.
Oh, what?
I'm good. I just had a really bad belch there.
Oh, I see.
I'm like, oh jeez.
A regular DSP moment. I get it. It's cool. We all have them.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, so this is when, yeah, which again, Mario did absolutely look like no other game.
Yeah, like Mario was a big game for the time. Like, compare it to fucking Pitfall, and you will see, like, the obvious difference.
Absolutely. Like, again, like, whereas like, yeah, like, Pitfall was like a game with, like, only, like, one screen per, like, thing, but Mario was, like, continuously side-scrolling.
Yeah, it was, like, continuously scroll and get the TV's refresh rate, which was goddamn voodoo. And he was basically talking about how it took a lot of convincing to get, you know, the parents to get the NES, which, you know, totally fair. That happens to everyone at some point.
Yeah, that's just being a kid.
Yeah. Like, I remember when I was a kid, like, it took me a lot to, you know, get the DSi.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I had a DS Lite at the time, but the DS Lite was starting to fucking break, so I had to save up my money to buy a DSi. But once I got that, I don't have to, it's like, I can finally play my fucking games again. Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, awesome, I can play Kirby Superstar.
For me, it was the Wii.
Oh, the Wii also. Oh, man, because I had the PS3 at launch. Which, granted, I fucking love my PS3. It's probably my favorite console of that generation. But when I played Super Smash Bros. Brawl, man, I needed the fucking Wii the most.
Yeah, like, that was a big reason why I wanted that. And, I think one I really wanted that was, like, a really weird game. I forget.
The Virtual Console was the other thing for me, because it's like, oh, I get to play Super Mario World again. Awesome. I can play Paper Mario.
Yeah, so are we almost at the line, Bart?
We're getting there. We're almost there. But he's talking about when he finally got the NES, which, hey, he was able to do it, and he was able to play all the classics, like Mario,
Bob.
like Duck Hunt, Balloon Fight, Ice Climber's not a fucking classic, Bob. I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry.
It was on the NES. It was a classic. You don't understand.
Ice Climber fucking sucks. That game is trash. It's trash.
You die, but still.
I can't even pretend it's a classic. Ice Climbers sucks shit through a straw. Cuckoo Land is better than Ice Climbers. Absolutely.
Box of scraps.
Like, I would rather play Cuckoo Land than Ice Climber. In fact, I'd rather play 18 Atari than this.
Yeah, I would too, honestly. Cuckoo Land is just weird. Like, I just can't even see, like, kids at the time really getting into it.
Cuckoo Land is weird, but when you know how to play it, it's kind of fine.
Like, Cuckoo Land, again, it's just one of those where it's like, it seems like a game you'd only play if you literally had no other game to play.
And Contra, which Contra is a classic.
Yeah, that's understandable, absolutely, yeah.
Obadiah Stane Sessler's breathing down your necks.
Oh, no.
But the one he would always talk about that his classic was Super Mario Brothers. Which, hey, you know, Mario was a good classic. And he also mentioned how his dad would join in and play them, which is kind of cool to see him talk about these wholesome moments. And even mentioned that his dad was one of the few that knew how to do the famous one-up trick.
Oh, yeah.
Which I do love that trick. It is one of my favorite, like, old-school methods in video games.
It feels kind of necessary, like, for, like, World 8.
Oh, absolutely.
It's mainly just World 8-3, honestly.
Oh, World 8-3 can go suck my left nut.
Oh, same.
It is the fucking pits.
It's literally just because there's like 50 Hammer Brothers, and they're just... If you don't know, Hammer Bros in the first game are awful.
Oh, we're getting there, Mr. Gunn. We're getting there. Oh, yeah, we're getting there.
We're almost at the load.
We're getting there.
All right.
But yeah, he's talking about, like... But he's talking about how he would do, like, every research for Mario. And this is where Bob takes a hobby into an obsession.
Oh, yeah.
Because he would learn about Nintendo Power. Which, hey, Nintendo Power is pretty cool. And then he would see that there was a Super Mario 2.
Oh. Yep.
And he says he has his first issue as a frame on his wall, which I wouldn't, like, I know someone's saying, are you going to make fun of that? No, not necessarily, because I can understand framing something like that on a wall. That carries sentimental value for people.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not going to make fun of that.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, I even keep, like, some of the things that are hanging on my wall as a poster are magazine ads. Like, I'm looking right next to my Bold and Brash, and there's a Resident Evil magazine ad as, like, one of my posters.
Yeah, no, and I'm absolutely going to frame the advertisements for Clay Fighter one day.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna order some Metroid Fusion like ads soon because I love the Metroid Fusion tagline. Sometimes the only way to defeat a predator is to become one.
Oh yeah, it's a good
which sounds horrible out of context.
Oh yeah.
But it's for context. It's talking about the X-Parasite.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's Among Us.
Yeah.
And I know there's probably a bunch of angry. There's probably gonna be a bunch of pissed off Metroid fans wanting my head on a bike now.
Hey, you can take them.
Yeah, I can take them. I can take all. Oh yeah, that.
Anytime, any place, bring it on, you alien lover.
Oh yeah, that did happen, Mr. Gunn. You're right. A certain person's 15 minutes of fame.
Oh.
But we'll discuss that never because that's a forbidden topic on New Video Order. Not in the chat, but we're not discussing that ever just because that will cause controversy no matter what we say.
Yeah.
But you can discuss them in the chat, absolutely. But yeah, now he's doing the whole, well, oh yeah, Super Mario Bros. 2 is actually Doki Doki Panic, where it's like, yeah, we fucking knew this in 2013. And he's talking about, like, how Mario 2 was so different, which, at the time, he was bringing how that was a necessity, because, again, almost every video game sequel at the time was just a slightly existing, like, tweaked version of the first game with the 2 slapped on it. Like, play Joust, then play Joust 2, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Joust 2 is just literally just fucking Joust with a 2 slapped on it.
Yep.
Or play Defender 2, which is just Defender with a 2 slapped on it.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only real actual sequels up to that point were stuff like Miss Pac-Man, which is, you know, a genuine refinement of the Pac-Man formula.
Yep.
And now illegally can't exist, mostly. So say hi to Pac-Mom.
Yeah, Pac-Mom. I don't like what that implies with Pac-Man, that being his wife.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not even talking about, like, that level.
No, I'm simply saying just don't worry about it, period.
Yeah.
Just using the standard Wooly response. Don't worry about it.
I'm just saying, like, Pac-Man has some Pac kinks.
But he's really talking about, like, how Mario has, like, this elaborate lore now, which is, no. I hate to
Which,
do
I
that
mean,
now.
as a kid, you would think about
Oh, yeah,
it.
to be fair, I really did think that, where I was, like, really over-examining the Twisted Metal continuity, to be fair. And then trying to piece together, like, all the stuff until I learned, oh, Twisted Metal Black's actually just an alternate continuity.
Yeah.
To be fair, this is before I found out about the Minion, like, all, like, the whole, oh, this actually takes place in Sweet Tooth's mind. Which, that fucking blew my mind as a kid. And it's still one of the greatest video game twists. But now he's talking about the Super Mario Brothers cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
Looking back at it objectively, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show is one of the most ridiculous things I ever devoted time to watching as a kid. An hour-long eyesore of self-conscious kitsch separated from earlier, equally baroque kiddie programming, only in its pool of visual references were culled from Nintendo's ephemeria instead of circus clowns or animal puppets. What the fuck are you talking about, Bob?
Yeah, honestly, like, MovieBob, what the fuck are you talking about?
You can't just use big words and try to sound smart.
Honestly, you can't just use words you randomly... You don't know the meaning of. It just sounds smart.
Like, I'm pretty sure Bob might be using these in the correct context, but he just sounds like a pompous ass.
Yeah, honestly. Like, just use a word people fucking know to get your point across.
And it's like, I mean, I'll agree, yeah, the Super Mario Super Show is ridiculous, but it's like, honestly, all 80s cartoons are fucking ridiculous. Keep in mind,
honestly.
Like, watch the 1987 TMNT. Like, I like the 1987 TMNT, but it's not exactly something that you would call serious by today's standards.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty fucking goofy, but it's self-aware of it, and I fucking love it.
Yeah. That was a rarity for the time, too. To have a cartoon actually be self-aware about how goofy it is.
Yeah. Or, like, watch a fucking Turbo Teen to get an idea.
Oh, yeah, Turbo Teen.
Which is fucking trash.
Yeah, it actually really is. Or watch the good shit, like, well, no, that's 90s, so I can't shill Biker Master. Damn. That's disappointing. Yeah, so... Oh, wait, I think we're at one of my favorite parts. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
But, so yeah, now we're at the bit that's actually, like, one of the best, like, parts of the book, where he's talking about, like, how, like, you know, where he's talking about, like, how his generation needs, like, so they had to get, like, every fix of the culture. Like, you had to take a look at everything, which makes MovieBob sound like a mindless consumer of, like, the pop culture.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't care if it's bad, I have to have it. Like, It sounds like the worst Sonic fan mentality of, I don't care if the Sonic game is bad, I gotta play it because it's Sonic. And it's like, but what if the game is fucking trash?
And it's ironic because, MovieBob's opinions on the Sonic franchise.
Yeah. Like, it reminds me, like, when I was a kid, where, granted, this is before I actually had replayed Twisted Metal 3. It was like, this is when I bought Twisted Metal 3, and it's like, my dad's like, don't buy it, that game's fucking trash. And I'm like, but I gotta play it, it's Twisted Metal 3! So I bought it, and I'm like, oh, Sweet Tooth's eating all the fucking candy in the world.
Yeah! Best Twisted Metal ever!
No! It's the worst! The only thing that was good that came out of Twisted Metal 3 is that it paved the way for Twisted Metal Black.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's like, if it wasn't for DMC 2, we wouldn't have DMC 3.
Yeah, if it weren't for DMC 2, we wouldn't have Infected Chopper.
But it's just like, reading it about how it's like, you just had to have everything. And I'm like, but really, Bob, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it. It was like, Mario, like, it's just like, it makes him sound like he's addicted to the world of Mario.
Yeah.
Which is honestly concerning, because it makes you really question his, it makes you question how strong his attachment to reality is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it really does.
And it's like, what Nintendo and Mario were my happy place, my constant. I mean, hey, there's always a comfort video game. One of mine is, ironically, Twisted Metal Black, which is weird considering that game's like an extremely depressing fucking video game.
Yeah.
But it's offset by, haha, fire missile will go burr, let's blast some cars up.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it comes off as like, well, I won't claim I had anything close to an unhappy childhood. Particularly compared to many of my friends, I wasn't having an easy time of pre-adolescence. I was quite emphatically a nerd in every sense of the word, save for academic excellence. I had too much of a problem with the authority to be any good at schoolwork, but was still too weird and bookish to be accepted by most of my peers. Instead of dealing with it in some kind of mature fashion, I made one bad decision after another, including the classic asshole move of trying to endear myself to the cool kids by trying to join the name-calling and belittling of the other uncool kids. Oh, actually, no. Never mind. That's not what I was looking for.
Yeah.
It's like, I apologize. It's like, I can kind of relate to Mom on that. Like, everyone wants to fit in at some point with their kids. And kids are fucking
that's
cool.
understandable.
Yeah.
Like,
I apologize, Bob. I take back what I was about to do there.
Yeah,
like, I genuinely do. My bad, Bob.
We're thinking about a different thing. Don't worry. We'll get, don't worry.
We'll get there, but you're safe, Bob.
Yeah, don't worry. This isn't what we're going to shit on you for. It's,
And amid all that, the most reliable way I always had to escape was Mario. While I could get bored with even my favorite movies or books after a while, the games were always a little different every time I played, so I played them and watched the cartoons, and read the comics and the magazines, and filled my notebooks and sketch pads and the margins of my textbooks with Mario drawings, and I felt my ears perk up with rumors beginning to swirl of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh, here we go!
Oh, hey, Mortal Kombat 3 footage is finally up, too.
Oh, yeah.
When are we gonna have Mortal Kombat 3 limb by limb?
Yeah!
The third age. We're getting there. But he's talking about like how he had his friend like have like a Japanese magazine that showed off Super Mario Bros. 3. And Bob seemed interested, which I kind of like how someone actually had an import, because it actually is kind of cool to see that like be discussed, because that wasn't really too common amongst gamers at the time, let alone children that knew about like how video games came out in Japan. So that's actually kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Hang on one second, I got some pings.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, oh my god, yeah! I finally saw what you were talking about. Like earlier when it came to the Mario Kart.
Rotunda? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's gonna be fun. Not next week, I mean, right.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to a small fighting game event that's local in the area.
Right, yeah, my bad.
I'm gonna if I could, I'll get some UMK3 matches with people. Because it's striking time, even though this footage shows me mostly playing Sub-Zero.
And there's me Sheevan.
Let's see, I didn't get the fatal there. Fuck!
Looks like your audience doesn't.
Oh my god, you have to hear this. My first look at it come from where else? Nintendo Power. A short puff piece that was, in my mind, akin to a vision from God.
Yeah! Here we go!
Now this is where you really get an idea how much he treats video games. And it's like, look, I get it. Video games are my primary hobby. Like, I love video games, obviously. Like, the podcast is called New Vidya Order. And, like, we're representing ourselves using video game assets. Like, my Sprite is So Bad Guy. His is No Vermilion. We have Zato 1 stage, and there's video game B-roll here. So, obviously, it'd be hypocritical to say that he can't take video games seriously. That's fine. But he's taking them too seriously.
Yeah.
Bowser was back and he had children? What the fuck?
Wow, Bowser can do that?
This is also okay, he's talking about how you got to see behind the scene images, which I understand that. It's kind of cool when you get to learn about that. I remember when Twisted Metal Head-On Extra Twisted Edition came out and you got to see the Twisted Metal documentary. That was pretty cool, seeing the developers talk about like how they created the game. That was pretty cool, obviously.
Yeah.
But now he's talking about the Wizard.
Yeah.
For those that, I think it's time to talk about the Wizard, which we'll probably devote more time about this whenever we do a thing about video game movies. But to give the rundown, any of you guys ever hear of the movie Rain Man that starred Tom Cruise?
Was that? No, I think it's Tom. Wait, was it Tom Cruise?
Yeah, Tom Cruise was in the Rain Man, I believe. Let me take a look real quick.
I think it was someone else. I think it was
Rain Man starring Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, okay, you were right. Never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, because I think Rain Man was like one of his earlier hits alongside Okay, so those that don't know what Rain Man is, it's about a guy with a Hollywood depiction of autism where he has like where he's a savant at what he does and is like absolutely godlike at what he does. So the Wizard involves like this kid named Jimmy who has like this unspecified mental disorder which seems like vaguely like coded to be autism, but it's like he kicks ass at video games.
Yeah.
So he and his brother travel across the country with some girl they meet to compete in Video Armageddon. Well, they have to evade this asshole who's like this bounty hunter for kids.
Yeah.
And they have to also tango with this asshole kid named Lucas, who is one of the best gamers in the world because he can use the Power Glove and make it fucking work.
Yeah.
And basically, the Wizard is the Rain Man if it was a 90-minute advertisement for Nintendo products.
Yep.
And it's notable because this is one of the first times gamers got to see a sneak peek to Super Mario Bros. 3.
Like, that's literally the only thing people really remember about this movie. And
now he's just, like, throwing random out-of-context clip quotes, because it's like he said that he's seen the movie so much. So you got 50,000 points in Double Dragon? Which honestly shows that the people who wrote the movie vaguely knew something about video games, because to get 50,000 points in Double Dragon, you have to be practically near the end of the game.
Yeah.
And they have, I love the Power Glove, it's so bad, which, he's correct. The Power Glove is trash.
Yeah, it is.
Video Armageddon! And he also, of course, has to throw in the famous line, he touched my breasts!
Yeah, I was about to mention that. If he didn't mention it, I was going to.
Oh, and here's the fucking line!
Here it is, Bart!
So, Mario Bros. 3 was revealed, and MovieBob says this. But the climactic reveal of Super Mario Bros. 3 is burned. No, seared into my memory the way JFK's assassination was for my parents' generation, or the way 9/11 would be for mine is get 12 years from then. My God,
like,
was it really? It's like, what the hell, Bob?
That's really like say what you will about people making jokes about 9/11. I think it's arguably kind of worse.
I would argue because it's such a fucking tragedy,
and it's like. And it's like you're comparing a fucking game reveal to a fucking tragedy, and you're trying to fucking glorify it. If anything, sounds like
it
sounds like you're saying the JFK assassination 9/11 were great.
Man, when I saw the Twisted Metal 2012 trailer, that was seared into my mind. The way fucking fuck. I can't even finish it because the way it would sound would just come off horrible no matter what I put there. Man, you know, the Twisted Metal 2012 announcement trailer was seared into my mind of the way the Hindenburg disaster was seared into people's minds.
Yeah.
That's like the only one I can say because it's like that happened like nearly 100 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
And it's also where we got the name of the band Led Zeppelin from, believe it or not.
Yeah.
The more you know. And it's just like, I get it. Obviously, you know, video game announcements, especially something like that, is grand to a child. But it's like...
You're an adult writing this. You weren't thinking about the... I have a feeling you weren't thinking about the JFK assassination when you saw that movie.
Yeah, like when I saw the Twisted Metal 2012 trailer, it's like, oh, sweet, new Twisted Metal. And it's coming to PS3. Awesome.
I wasn't thinking of, like, War Crimes and Nam.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of, like... fucking televised tragedies.
Yeah, it's like...
Like, Bob, what the fuck? And even as an adult, when I was writing the Twisted Metal retrospective, I wasn't going to say shit like that.
Yeah, because it's like, it's just so out of pocket, but so...
It's just
so
the most
horrible.
hyperbolic comparison I've ever seen. Like, that'd be like fucking Justin Wong saying, when I saw the Street Fighter 4 trailer...
Oh, God.
Like, that would render Justin Wong a fucking laughingstock.
Yeah.
If Maximilian Dude said that, he would be a laughingstock. If DSP said that...
it doesn't matter who says it. The point is that the fucking... It's a weird, out-of-pocket thing to say about a fucking video game reveal.
The only person they wouldn't bat an eye saying that would be DSP, because DSP's a fucking clown.
Yeah, because it's like, that's just another day for him, honestly.
DSP's done shit like that before, where he compared his, like, Xbox save file dying to the tragedy that was, like, Kobe Bryant's passing. It's like, Phil, what the fuck?
Yeah, honestly, it's like...
I didn't even make that up. That actually fucking happened.
Yeah, that did fucking happen. It's terrible. Like, imagine actually thinking that's a good, like, line...
Yeah, it's just like, Mario 3, I get it, again, like, Mario 3's announcement was grand in the game. Like, they did a great way hyping up the game because the game wasn't out for, like, another few months. But it's just like, man, it's like, Bob, it's so fucking, like, ridiculous to compare Mario 3 to these fucking tragedies.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I remember the day Yo Noid was announced.
Yeah! It reminded me of that time the Noid guy held up the pizzeria.
That is, like, still one of the most bizarre things in history to ever
And to be fair, a lot of people get that wrong. He didn't actually kill anyone.
Yeah, he didn't kill anyone. He just left eventually.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's still...
He's also not the reason why...
Well.
Also, like, to also clear up a misconception, he's not the reason why the Noid was retired. The Noid was just retired eventually.
Yeah, as most mascots are.
Yeah.
Even though it's bullshit with characters like Cool Spot, the greatest mascot ever.
Then we got the Noid back anyway.
Yeah, we didn't get Cool Spot back, though.
We'll get Cool Spot back at some point. We just need to do Cool Spot video game.
Better.
But yeah, now let me take a look at the next page. Let's see. Okay, we're on page 34. Page 35, bottom paragraph. Boy goes to war.
Oh, here we go.
Now he's going to be talking about the console wars. Oh, goody.
You know that song, Fortunate Son?
Oh, my God. Okay, so he's talking about... We have to hear this excerpt, because he's talking about, like, how... fucking the console war is going to start. So he has to establish competing products. Marketing, especially youth marketing in the 90s, was all about dividing and conquering, establishing an identity for your product, encouraging a less attractive identity for a rival product, and getting consumers to flock over to claim that the good identity for themselves. We got a taste of this in the 80s with the Cola Wars, which, hey, you know, fair. Coke and Pepsi is one of the most notable rivalries, but I don't know if people really care about what's better, Coke or Pepsi.
Like,
personally, I drink fucking both.
I will say there is some truth about that was actually that was actually advertising in the 90s because it was stripped, just especially in the console war. Like, like
the console
companies
wars was
actively
vicious.
fueled it. They actively fueled it.
Let me get some Genesis Does magazine ads real quick.
Yeah, because they absolutely did. Like the whole thing of like that's literally what Genesis does, what Nintendo, and if you ask people at the time, that shit was divided as soon as those ads.
Like, you would literally have like commercials on the TV be like, so this is, it's like you would have like magazine, like you would literally have TV ads be, oh, the Genesis has blast processing, Super Nintendo doesn't. So what's blast processing do?
It has it though.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is blast processing, first of all? Yes, we know it's like, oh, the Genesis has a faster processor.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you think kids really gave a shit about the Genesis having a 7.8 megahertz processor compared to the Super Nintendo's 3 megahertz processor or whatever the fuck it was?
Yeah.
But yeah, here's a classic Genesis does what Nintendo don't. For for those that don't know what the Genesis does ads were.
Yeah.
For all 5 of you.
Yeah, it was literally just about just making chips, make your product sound way better.
And to be fair, the Genesis does have some awesome games. Like, yeah. I'm not trying to sound like a Super Nintendo fanboy, because I love the Genesis games. There were some awesome games on there, like Streets of Rage 2, we had Sonic the Hedgehog 3, some really good games.
Yeah, and like, again, like, it wasn't just that, it was also, like, again, just shitting all over the competition, so many...
Because, like,
at that time...
go.
There's so many ads at that time where it was just, you don't get this system, you're a complete idiot.
Yeah, it's like, look, the Genesis is the cool thing. Look, we have uncensored Mortal Kombat. The Super Nintendo has censored Mortal Kombat. What are you, a fucking pussy?
Yeah, that was straight the advertising in that era.
And it's like, okay, but it's like you don't have to buy an extra controller to play Street Fighter.
Yeah.
It's like, have fun pressing start to alternate between punches and kicks. I know someone's gonna bring up the 6-button controller.
I want someone to, like, play in a Street Fighter tournament with a Genesis out now, honestly.
Like, I know someone's gonna bring up what the Genesis has a 6-button controller. Yes, it does, but you had to buy that. Like, that didn't come I don't think those came pre-packaged with the console until much later.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I do love the 6-button Genesis pad for fighting games. It is really good. But it's like, the Super Nintendo came with it packed in the box.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like, okay, but the Super Nintendo controller layout is, like, way fucking better. Like,
yeah, honestly.
Let me grab my PS5 controller right here, because it uses the same layout as the Super Nintendo controller. Like, hell, I have, like, 3 other PlayStation controllers right here on my desk.
Yeah, it's like...
Like, it's the tried and true controller for a reason. I know we got off topic, but that's just because we're talking about the console wars.
Which is important to this.
Yeah. But Bob goes into an extra step where he also talks about, like, let me finish the sentence because he talks about the Cola Wars and how Nike essentially started a race war amongst my sports friends by selling the Magic shoe and the Bird shoe concurrently at the height of the Celtic-Lakers rivalry. It's like, Bob, what the fuck are you saying?
What the fuck is wrong with you? What are you even talking about this?
MovieBob sounds like... Bob, don't say the term race war. That's a really serious topic.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, Bob?
Yeah, like, and especially for fucking, in your fucking video game book.
Were your friends, like, donning fucking hoods or some shit? What the fuck, Bob?
Yeah. Were there, like... I'm not gonna say that, because, like, you can probably find evidence, like, that happening. I'm not what you said, what I was saying.
Yeah. It's like, Bob, what the fuck? Were your friends, like, quoting the birth of a nation or some shit?
Yeah, it's like over the damn sneakers, like, I'm sorry, that just sounds so fucking
It's like, stupid. I know kids are shitty, but I don't think they're that shitty. Yeah, I agree. This feels less like a strategy guide, more like the Journal of a Madman. It is a Journal of a Madman.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's talking about the console wars.
Here we go.
And now Bob's talking about how he peaked in elementary school. Because Bob went from the dork who's way into his dorky video games. Now Bob was the guy who knows everything about the world's hottest new pastime. Why, yes, ma'am. I can tell you the best place to build up your EXP in Final Fantasy. I doubt you played Final Fantasy.
I can show you everything about
I doubt he played Final Fantasy at that point. Like, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I wouldn't doubt he played Dragon Warrior or, you know, someone gonna go, actually, it's Dragon's Quest. You know, I know that.
Yeah, it's just that was just what it was called in America.
Well, you can't. It's like, what's that? You can't make it quite through TMNT 2? Let me show you a code that might help.
Here you go.
I can't help you, TMNT 1. You're fucked.
Yeah.
You see that pizza? You can't get it. You'll die.
Yeah. Are you really sitting down enough to get that pizza? Pizza shit. That's AVGN. I'm not actually shilling anything. I'm not actually.
But now he's talking about like how the fucking Genesis, obviously like took the market share from the Super Nintendo, which it kind of did. Sonic the Hedgehog, like a lot of kids are like, man, this Sonic is way cooler than that dorky schlub Mario.
Yeah.
Because Sonic had attitude.
And MovieBob will never fucking forgive Sonic for ever touching his Oshi Mario, ever thinking he could ever be anywhere near the cultural icon as and he holds that resentment to this very day.
Yeah. And he's talking about how, and he's going back to how we were talking about earlier, with like how Sega was really relentless and just doing a bunch of cheap shots to Nintendo, ultimately.
Oh, yeah. Again, Nintendo did them too, but Sega did.
Nintendo only did it when it was like absolutely necessary, but when they did it, they fucking stuck very well.
Yeah, I mean, again, Nintendo wasn't innocent either, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, like, Nintendo only did it when like, when Nintendo did it, it was like, oh, they actually had a justified, like, case. Like, oh, when Donkey Kong Country came out, it was like, where are you going to find this? Not on any Sega CD, not on 32X adapters, only on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Which was a well-earned jab because the Sega CD at that point was a fucking flop. The 32X was a fucking flop. It's like, I feel like that was like super earned at that point for whatever it's worth.
Yeah.
It's like they're not innocent of not cheap shots. But unlike Sega, they could actually put their money where their mouth was most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's
you gotta get Genesis for great games like Moonwalker.
I mean, granted, Moonwalker's okay. I'm not gonna shit on Moonwalker.
It's not amazing.
There's some novelty to it. It's like some people like to play Michael Jackson.
It's a good little icon, but it's like a good little time capsule. That's really about it.
It's not Sonic the Hedgehog 1, which was at least an understandable killer app for the time.
Yeah.
And again, Mortal Kombat 1, it's like, oh, Sub-Zero could rip off someone's head in this. Awesome.
Yeah, and the gore was like one of the only things you could really.
You were getting out of Mortal Kombat 1 because who the fuck cared about depth in Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because again, yeah.
Let's see. Let me take a look at my pages because we're almost to the best part.
Oh, yeah.
Page 41, first paragraph. Oh, yeah. This is where he's talking about, like, the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Because the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out. And everyone knows how in name only the Super Mario Bros. Movie was at the time.
Yeah.
Where he's basically even saying, like, it has to be good. It had to be good because Mario was my friend. And I'm like, dude, it's just a video game adaptation. It's not that deep.
It's not the end of the world. Like,
if it's bad, it's just a shitty video game adaptation. Like, yeah, I'll agree Spider-Man 3 or, like, TMNT 3 are disappointing movies. But they're not the end of the world. Like, Spider-Man 3, I hated that movie as a kid. But you know what I also did it with my life? I moved on and just simply regarded it as a disappointing movie. I wasn't like, man, Spider-Man betrayed me. It's just like, it's Spider-Man 3. It's a movie that sucks, and granted, it lived rent-free in my head, and I always say it sucked, but I just knew it was just a shitty movie. It's not that deep.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Like, I wasn't going into the movie thinking, it has to be good. Super Mario Brothers 3, like, Spider-Man was my hero. Like, I mean, I love
Paul
Spider-Man.
Phoenix can't fight aliens. Paul Phoenix was my friend.
Yeah, even with that, like, I hate Paul fighting aliens, but I think it's just a stupid ending. It's like, I mean, I'll still play Tekken 5, because Tekken 5 is fucking goated.
Yeah.
Like, Tekken 5 is one of the best Tekkens you'll ever fucking play. In all fairness, we were going to have Venom in the movies at some point. Like, let's be real here. Like, I think Sony had the right idea of, like, saying, hey, let's consider throwing Venom in the movie. And to be fair, none of the fucking villains would have held that movie on its own.
Oh, yeah. Like Sandman.
Yeah, Sandman. I would have honestly taken Sandman out of that movie.
Yeah, honestly, like, I'm sorry, but like,
I
feel Sandman's popularity is only really because he was in Spider-Man 3 nowadays.
I mean, granted, he was a somewhat established villain to begin with, but I would argue like Sandman works as a side villain at best.
Yeah, honestly.
It didn't help they had to like add stuff for him in that movie too.
Yeah, that's just like, oh, see, Sandman's not such a bad guy. He killed Uncle Ben for his daughter.
Yeah, he killed Uncle Ben for his terminally ill daughter. That makes him a good person.
Dear Spider-Man, my daughter has a disease.
We gotta save that for a superhero movie podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is also with oh yeah, this is like what he's talking about. Like, yeah, he's just talking about like when he's hearing about the Mario movie, how it's adding some stuff. Like, oh, Yoshi's gonna be in it. Oh, it's gonna take elements from the other movies. Oh, Daisy's like the main princess instead of Peach. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't think he mentions the Game Boy in this. I could be super wrong, but it's weird how he doesn't talk about either Super Mario Land so far.
Yeah.
Like, it's really weird how he's not talking about Super Mario Land 2. You really think he'd talk about Super Mario Land 2 in this book? Like, if he's talking about Mario up to that point? Because Super Mario Land 2 came out, like... I'm looking this up real quick. Super Mario Land 2. That came out in 1992. You really think he'd talk about that, considering how much of a classic that is for the Game Boy?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he's talking about how he convinced himself that the movie was good at the time because it was Mario. He was my friend. And to be fair, everyone has that one thing that they convinced themselves was good initially at the time. Like, I remember when I saw Rise of Skywalker the first time, I did myself like, it was alright, I liked it. And then, like, give it about a week, I'm like, yeah, the movie was fucking dog shit. Just because I couldn't believe what I had seen as, like, one of the worst climaxes to any trilogy.
Yeah. I've never seen it. I don't plan on seeing any of them.
It's literally how you do not end a trilogy ever.
I see.
Like, it is just the definition of, like, pure, unnecessary fan service.
Ah, okay.
Like, hey guys, remember Lando? He's here. It's like, why is Lando here?
He's here, though.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, look, it's like that bit from... It's like Palpatine literally was, like, throwing it at the last minute. It's super obvious in the script.
Yeah.
Because they literally go, oh, he Sigma'd himself.
Yeah. Palpatine. The Palpatine virus.
That would actually be better. Like have fucking droids go Maverick. With
that would actually be better. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's like, hey, he's talking about how... But yeah, here's the thing. It's him. It's like, I needed to be good because I needed Mario to be as big as meaningful of a movie franchise he had been in gaming. It's like, it's not that deep, Bob. Like, look, it's still a strong video game franchise, man.
Yeah.
Like, calm the fuck down. Like, we get it, you know? You're disappointed in the Mario movie, but it's like, I don't think Mario should be a movie franchise because especially this is the 1990s we're talking about here. Where movie franchises weren't really that strong of a suit.
Yeah.
Like, the most you had at that point was the Star Wars trilogy, and, yeah, sequels are starting to become a thing, and, you know, we had good sequels in the 1990s. Case in point, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which is one of the best films ever fucking made.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, at the same time, like, Batman started seeing diminishing returns. Like, some people consider Batman Returns massively inferior to the first film. I haven't seen it in God knows how long.
I disagree. I honestly love it.
I haven't seen it in a while, so that's why I'm simply saying from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Like, I need to rewatch it.
Like, honestly, it might be my favorite of the...
Like, it's a very... like, point is what I'm saying. It's a divisive movie.
Yeah,
and some people didn't like Batman Forever. I personally think the movie's okay. It's not perfect, but it's watchable.
Yeah.
And Batman and Robin, I don't think we need to say anything about that.
Is a classic by anyone who disagrees is an idiot.
Yeah, it's cinematic peak.
It is peak. It's not burdened by any of the shades of the amazing.
It's like Batman and Robin, like, everyone knows that movie's reputation, though. Like,
yeah.
And let's not forget how bad Superman had it in the 80s. Like, there's a reason people only say the only Superman movies tend to be worth watching are Superman 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Like, no one ever talks about Superman 3. People only talk about Superman 4 because it sucks.
Yeah.
And
the only things really of note were in Superman 3, it had Richard Pryor in it, who wasn't funny in it. And also, it had Superman getting, like, wasted for a scene.
And Superman 4, everyone knows about Nuclear Man, and I'm going to rebuild the Great Wall of China with my lasers.
Yeah. And there will be peace as long as the people of their countries want it.
And like
the governments will have no choice but to give it to them.
And then they try to turn RoboCop into a franchise, as we obviously know. And
RoboCop 2 is actually not that bad, but 3, fuck 3.
Yeah, like it's like some people didn't like RoboCop 2, and people especially fucking hated 3.
Yeah, 3 is trash.
But yeah, like that's kind of why Bob shouldn't be like, man, why couldn't Mario be a movie franchise? Because most of the time, most people didn't like when they try to be franchises. Like, case in point, let's look at the TMNT movies. Most people only really like the first movie. Like, some people think Secret of the Use is okay, but no one ever really thinks 3 is a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Turtles 3 is like the stock bad movie sequel.
Yeah.
For, like, many people, for a good reason.
Oh, yeah. Help, I'm a turtle, I can't get up.
You were expecting maybe MovieBob's Brick by Brick? And he's talking about, like, how every fucking video game movie at the time, like, you know, flopped. Like, oh, Double Dragon, Street Fighter. And he's talking about the so-so Mortal Kombat, which, I mean, I agree with him to an extent. The Mortal Kombat movie's kind of so-so. Like, I like it, but I wouldn't admit it's high art by any means. Oh, God, no. Yeah. Like, and I would definitely argue there are better martial arts movies you could be watching, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to, like, you're better off watching Bruce Lee's filmography instead of the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
But if you want a good video game adaptation, yeah, Mortal Kombat's worth watching.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the movies and movie audiences had spoken. Video games, even Mario, weren't ready for the big leagues. And eventually, even I had to admit it. And now, he's talking about when he's going to high school. Page 41, first paragraph. Oh shit, here we are!
Here we are. This is what we all been waiting for.
First, he's talking about how he had to go to his high school, which has quote-unquote Irish, Italian, and Greek hoodlums who mostly paid them to keep them there.
That sounds a little
Where,
sketch.
Bob, you seem a little prejudiced against Italians.
Yeah, this is anti-Italian propaganda.
Bob, don't you like Mario? Mario's Italian.
Yeah, just think of it like Mario. I'm sure they won't get mad.
Bob, it just sounds like Bob would be like, oh, Mario's one of the good ones.
Yeah. I've seen Godfather. I know what you people do.
That came out of it. And now, he's talking about how the console wars dragged on like it was his own private Vietnam, where it's like, grow the fuck up, Bob.
Yeah, you're in high school at this point, for fuck's sake.
Like, when you're in high school, no one gives a fuck about the console wars. Like, most people in my high school played the Xbox 360. You know what? I was content playing my PS3, playing some Twisted Metal 2.
It's like, that is the most childish shit.
Man, people were saying I didn't play Madden. I have PTSD over people that played Madden when I was playing Twisted Metal 2. Oh no, the Madden people are coming from the trees.
No!
No! Come on, Bob.
Help me, Sweet Tooth!
Help me, Mario! I need help! Mario, where's the napalm?
Fortunate Son just starts playing in the background. I will say, like this is off topic, but there's a really good Family Guy bit where they're making fun of like how Fortunate Son plays in every Vietnam. It's like everywhere in Vietnam they were just playing Fortunate Son. It's actually a pretty good bit.
In 1994, the Sony PlayStation came out. Yeah, if you lived in Japan, Bob.
Yeah.
It didn't come out in America until like, I believe, like September 1995. I want to look that up real quick. PS1, the PlayStation came out. Yeah. PlayStation was September 9th, 1995. Yeah. Bob was just like, but.
You have to be quiet whenever you enter Bob's domain, or he'll get reminded about
just Bob sees like the arcade perfect port of Mortal Kombat 3. It's like the Super Nintendo can't do that. And then he's like, oh, and he's like, Bob just looks at Tekken and is like just shitting his pants. What were these? Yeah, now like, this is like now no longer going about like fucking Mario 3. It's just him like whining about how he can't be a geek anymore in high school. Yeah. Which, I mean, I'll agree. Some people are really shitty about that in high school, but it's like, I don't exactly have that much trauma about it nowadays, because it's like, I mean, I'm 25, and it's like, you know, yeah, people are shitty in my high school, but it's kind of like, I moved on with my fucking life, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, again, I mean, I don't know how shitty people were to Bob in his teen years, because teenagers can be really shitty people. Like, I'll agree with MovieBob on that heavily. So, like, not trying to, like, discount if he had any actual trauma, because, again, some people can be really shitty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so if, like, that actually happens, you know, you have my sympathy, Bob, but it is, like, just him whining about, like, hardcore gamers and, like, the PlayStation. It's, like, where he's talking about how the PlayStation gave us douchebag gamers, where it's, like, I'd argue that was more of a thing due to Adam Sessler.
Yeah, thanks, Sessler.
Or, like, just gaming journalism at the time. Like, let me look up some, like, old school magazine ads real quick, too, because there was, like, yeah, because you would have, like, gaming magazine ads. Like, there's that one infamous Duke Nukem ad. If you don't play this, you like men.
Yeah.
Which is...
I love that ad. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
If you just play this, you like men.
It's the most out of nowhere, just casual homophobia at the time.
Yo.
And I'm speaking as a Duke Nukem fan. I love the Duke Nukem games. Well, I love Duke Nukem 3D specifically, because that is a good game.
I like both.
Let me, like, get me some old school let's see, video game magazine ads. Because there were some, it's like to give, like, an idea what Bob was talking about. Yeah, you would just have, like, ads where it's like, oh, here's a family playing Virtual Fighter on the Sega 32X. And it just says domestic violence.
Yeah, again, honestly, this is absolutely one where you can actually blame, like, games media at the time. Like, marketing mainly.
Because there's always, like, just random fucking, like, magazine ads. I do love me some old school magazine ads, but then there's just some that were, like, kind of toxic for the time. But then you have some that were pretty cool, like, kill your friends guilt-free.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny.
Yeah. If though it hopes that, like, also Bill Clinton infamously, like, talked about it. Yeah. And just doesn't know, like, oh, yeah, that's Guilty Gear. That's one of it's one of the good fighting games. And it's not really a violent game either.
It's not even that violent, all things considered, honestly.
Oh, I love how anytime the magazine video game ads, I got the Clay Fighter ads.
Hell yeah!
No, prepare for this.
Yeah, the good shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to... Because there were, like, some that were, like, straight up, like... Just that kind of did, like, kind of build up that, like, toxic gamer attitude. Like, I'm trying to... Let me type in the Choo Choo Rocket ad. Because that was, like, one that was, like...
It is fucking Choo Choo Rocket, of all things, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, Choo Choo Rocket ad. Because they're talking about, like... Choo Choo Rocket ads. Where the fuck is it? Because there was, like, some Choo Choo Magazine Rocket ads that were, like, talking about, like, oh, yeah, you can use the voice thing and, like, trash talk people.
Oh, God.
Like, because there was a Vice article that was talking about that a while back, but it was, like, I can't find the ad.
Yeah. And it's, like...
And it's fucking Choo Choo Rocket of all things to advertise.
Yeah, fucking Choo Choo Rocket. When you look at this game, I don't think, oh,
it's not the game you would say, I fucked your mother in.
Yeah, it's like, really? I can't imagine a squeaker on Call of Duty being like, oh yeah, I fucked your mom.
But yeah, let's see, page 46. That's where we're gonna get to the thing.
Oh, shit.
Because there's like, what? Oh, wait, found it. It was like on page 43. Where he's talking about how Yoshi's Island had come out. And that's where, like, Bob describes it as the game that, quote-unquote, broke him because it revealed that Mario was not from Brooklyn.
Oh, my God.
And it's like... That. And it's just like, who the fuck cares? Yoshi's Island's
a fucking magical plumber.
It's like, when I saw that as a kid, I mainly knew about the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, so I was expecting to see Brooklyn, but I saw, oh, he's from the Mushroom Kingdom. I was like, oh, so the video games and the cartoons must be different canons. Okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, I just moved on in my life because it wasn't that big of a fucking deal.
But you weren't there for Brooklyn. They needed Mario.
Like, how it's like when I thought, like, because I didn't play, like, Sonic Adventure in games until, like, my middle school years. Like, my brother had them for the Dreamcast. But most of my knowledge of the Sonic stuff came from what I'd seen on YouTube. So I had mainly seen the cartoons and shit at that point. And when I found out, oh, Sonic's not from Mobius? I just was like, oh, he's actually from Earth? Okay. Moved on with my life. Yeah, not a big deal.
Yeah, but he's from, like, New York, so he needed this.
I want to really discuss this when we do the video game podcast, but it is like, I really hate how people still try to insist Sonic's from Mobius, and it's like, no, stop.
Like, yeah, throw away your nostalgia, please.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, honestly, just throw your fucking nostalgia goggles away.
Like, I'll discuss this more when I do the video game cartoons, because it'll be important there. But anyway, because this is relevant, and now he's like, well, I was more distracted by college prep classes, girls, and sex. And I'm like, Bob, you were not having sex with people, then I guarantee
I'm sorry,
that.
yeah, I don't believe you, Bob. I'm sorry, I don't.
The idea of just MovieBob going, oh yeah, I was banging everyone in class. I was the bitch
Giggity,
shot.
giggity, bitches!
It's like, it's just like the idea of Bob being like, oh yeah. Like, I just see, like, an acne-riddled Bob looking like fucking Terrence from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends being like, yeah, sex!
Yeah!
Like, it's just like...
Hey, Gordon, you gotta wear the Peach costume. What? Just do this for me.
Wear the Peach costume, damn it! But there's a My Story Peach, now!
I don't care about that! That's
Fatal Fury sucks! It's not Mario!
I need you to call me Mario or Kid. I can't do this.
Are we talking about MovieBob or Ryu Chun-Li guy?
I don't know anymore.
I love it. We're really...
It's like, I'm sorry. I wouldn't normally like make fun of you like for this, but it's like, come on, Bob. Let's not kid ourselves.
Like,
I'm not gonna say...
It's not that deep. It's a video game retcon at its worst.
Yeah,
Like, when I saw Paul fighting aliens, I wouldn't say that broke me. I was just like, why is Paul fighting aliens? This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Like, when I saw Sweet Tooth when I saw Sweet Tooth eating
ice
candy,
cream.
When I saw Sweet Tooth eating all the candy in the world, that was just me as a 10-year-old going, okay, I wasted my fucking time. Like, it's just a video game. It's not that fucking deep.
It really isn't.
And I was like, well, I didn't have a breakdown or anything. Then why did you write this in here?
Oh, I didn't have a breakdown. Look shiftedly to each side.
Look shiftedly at the wall that like looks at the fucking like typewriter that says, "All work and no play make Bob a dull boy."
Yeah.
But anyway, now he's just talking about how the N64 come out and how it's like how like the PlayStation and the Dreamcast are out, and it's just like how he's just feeling disconnected from gaming.
Yeah.
And then he like talks about like how when he became an adult, he started to slowly drift away from gaming, which, you know, that happens for some people.
Yeah.
And then he talks about how, like, he got a public access TV show doing film reviews and got fired because he gave Passion of the Christ a negative review. And I'm like, what does this have to do with Mario?
Yeah, honestly.
Like,
it
this
just raises more questions, honestly.
Like, it just felt like Bob, like, this is why I feel like Bob should have written an autobiography about himself instead of trying to make this about Mario 3, because it's like, this hasn't talked about Mario 3 in a while.
Yeah, again, it talked about it when it was talking about 9/11, but that's about...
And it's like, oh, here's talking about, like, how we would play Halo some nights with the boys every now and then, and it's like, Bob has a very noticeable dislike to the FPS genre, which is totally fair. It's okay to dislike certain genres. I'm not a big fan of point-and-clicks, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I like some point-and-click adventure games every now and then, but I'm not a big fan of the genre itself. But that's just more due to some of them being not very well designed.
Yeah, honestly. Let's just be real.
Yeah. Play Maniac Mansion without a guide, I fucking dare you. But then, like, he talks about how he was starting to rebuild his love for Mario by playing the GBA. Because, hey, the GBA had a lot of re-releases of video games. And to be fair, the GBA had one of the best libraries for this shit. You had the NES classics. You had Super Mario Advance. You had games like Metroid Zero Mission and Link to the Past. So Bob could easily re-look at his childhood from the GBA and play them anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that is absolutely one of the best parts about like the GBA as a console.
Which, speaking of, I cannot wait for Zero Mission to be added to the GBA stuff on Switch. I would really love to play that game again. And he also had played, like, just some new Mario games. Like, oh, he had finally played... Oh, he does mention Land here and there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just skimming through this, so I completely didn't know if he was talking about, like, And he's talking about, like, the early internet, which is very important here, because that does lead to him becoming, MovieBob.
Yep.
Where he got, like, his spot as Game Over Thinker, and he got his spot as MovieBob on Escapist.
Yep. It's when he put the mask on.
And this is him talking about how Mario had become king again thanks to New Super Mario Bros., which I think it's easy to forget how big of a deal that game was at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when that game came out, it was, like, a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Because, oh, Mario has a new 2D adventure?
Yeah.
And it's using the new assets? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I feel ancient now.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit! Like, oh. Oh, that's cool. Super Mario Advance 4. You got to play Super Mario Bros. 3 as your first video game. Bob carves the retro tooth mask out of a Mario Bros. 1 cartridge.
Oh my god. Yo.
And he's talking about, like, how the Wii had come out, and it's like Mario Galaxy's helping compete against the HD consoles. And this is where I feel like Bob's dipping in a console fanboyism as an adult.
Again.
It's like, look, I like the Wii. It's a good console. But I would argue that both the 360 and the PS3 are better consoles than the Wii. Just in the long run, because by 2011, the Wii ran out of fucking steam. I'm sorry. Like, at that point, the Wii's limitations finally caught up with it. Like,
yeah.
There was only so much you could do with the Wii at that point. Like, I remember in high school, that's when I started really using my PS3 more often outside of the virtual console, because, oh, I can play Street Fighter 4 on the PS3 because I'm getting into Street Fighter at this point. Bitchin'. Yeah. There's a Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I'm buying that. Oh, I love Marvel 3. This is awesome. Yeah. Oh, I could buy Marvel 2 for $10. Sign me the fuck up. I love me Marvel 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But the Wii U didn't have much in 2012 either, Mr. Gunn, and he's bringing up the Wii U now. Let me talk about that.
Oh, lordy.
Because this one has, like, one of the best bits of, like, MovieBob right here. Page 67, I want to say. Okay, yeah. This is where he's, like, going to trade in his Wii U, because the Wii he had purchased was defective, which, Bob, I'm going to be honest, you shouldn't fucking have bought the Wii U at launch. Like,
yeah.
I wanted the Wii U at launch, but it was a good thing when I got mine in 2014, honestly, because the Wii U, I've seen people call it the modern-day Dreamcast, and I personally disagree on that one. And if anyone asks me, well, why? The Dreamcast has shit that made it really cool at the time, and still cool upon retrospect. Even with some of the games having re-releases, some of your best ways to still play those games are the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And there's just some games you can only really play effectively on the Dreamcast, too.
Yeah. But the Wii U, there's not really much you can only really play on that anymore.
And even then, the Switch has, like, literally better fucking ports that are readily available.
Yeah.
That have, like, a shitload of content, whereas, like, the Dreamcast, oh. Like, it's like, oh, Marvel 2's delisted. Guess I'll go buy a Dreamcast with Marvel 2 on it.
Yep.
Or
this is like, before Fight Kid, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Or it's like, oh, JoJo's delisted. I'll go get JoJo on Dreamcast. And even then, if you're a collector, there's a reason to do that. And even then, there's still some cool games on there, like Soul Calibur.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't really see a reason to really get a Wii U.
Yeah, except for the homebrew.
Yeah, that's about it.
But Bob is talking about, like, how there's a young mother and her 2 children. One was a boy of about 6 or 8, and the other is a toddler whose gender was undetermined as he, she. Bob, you should have probably just used they there.
Yeah, honestly, like I get you're trying to show that you're really progressive, but it's like that's really
granted, they has become like that's like I think a recent development. To be fair, because again, this was written in 2013. To be fair,
yeah, I mean in general,
and I doubt it. Infant is gonna go by they them pronouns anyway.
Yeah.
But they is just like a shorthand of hey, I don't know the gender. I'm just gonna say they is like a shorthand.
Yeah, it's widely accepted even then, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but was wrapped up in a solid cocoon of winterwear and cradled against their mom's shoulder. I get the sense that we may have been there for the same thing. They are likely picking up a pre-order, me hoping there was a stock beyond the pre-orders, and I could tell that despite the fact that we only said hello to one another, not by some psychic intuition, I stress, but because the boy was making it pretty clear. He was excitable to the point of bouncing, and his attire told the rest of the tale. Mario t-shirt, Mario baseball cap, Mario backpack, even Mario sneakers. This kid was a walking advertisement for New Super Mario Bros. Wii era Mario. I looked down at him, smiled, nodded. He was looking up at me, realizing, before I did honestly, that I also happened to be wearing a Mario t-shirt. One from my area, Super Mario Bros. 2 character select screen to be precise. With a look of quizzical surprise. The big older guy knows Mario too? Yes, I do, kid. Yes, I do.
I do. I know more than you ever will, you little shit.
It's because you are a prepubescent ignoramus? I could see Bob being like a comic book guy to this kid.
Oh, yeah.
And it is like, I mean, it is kind of wholesome talk about like his excitement seeing younger kids excited about Mario, but it is like, yeah, no shit the kid's excited about Mario. Mario's an all ages game.
Yeah.
It's like, no fucking shit the kid's excited for Mario. It's like, Mario belongs to him more than he belongs to me. It's like, wow, Bob, you're great for sacrificing your chance to get a fucking Wii U.
Damn. Damn, damn, we ought to dedicate a holiday to you, Bob.
When do we have a MovieBob Love Day?
Yes, I agree.
It's just like, man, that would be like me going, man, I don't need Twisted Metal 2 right now. This kid deserves Twisted Metal 2 more than me. And it's just like, it's a fucking video game. It's not that deep, Bob.
It really is not that deep.
I mean, I did love my Wii U back in the day, too. Ooh, Mr. God. But it was like, it's just once I got, like, I still use my PS3 more often when I got that finally, like, repaired. Because it's like, oh, I can play Tekken 2.
But, yeah. So are we at the actual Mario 3
yes.
part of the... Yeah.
And this is where the book falls apart.
Yep, because it's just a boring recap of just the game. If you played the game, you already know this shit. And
Which
if
I have
you
played,
haven't, it's not really going to convince you.
Like, I played Mario 3 plenty of times, to the point where I even raced it with my friend Blue Crasher on his channel last year.
Yeah,
where we did a race that you could see on both our channels.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil who wins, but it was a pretty, it's a pretty big race. I think you'll like the race.
Yeah, I never saw it, so I don't even know.
Oh, I don't think Bob comments on the twist about it being a play, but I'm pretty sure if you told him, he would have been broken by it.
Yeah.
Like, I love how people were, like, acting like, oh, my childhood's ruined. How much of the book about, if this is actually about Mario 3... I would actually argue 2/3 of the book's actually about Mario 3. Or like half of it.
Like, there's really not a lot.
But when it comes to Mario 3, this book falls apart fast.
Yeah, because it's just a boring recap of video game levels.
Like, first he talks about the story where it's like, there's really not much of a story to Mario 3. It's Bowser attacks the kingdoms. Mario has to go restore the kings. Then Bowser kidnaps Princess. Mario has to go attack Bowser.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But he's talking about like how now it's like a big military conflict because Bowser has tanks and shit. It's like, yeah, Mr. Gunn says it best. It's a Mario game. What story?
Yeah, it's not even like one of the RPGs or anything.
Like, I know someone wants to say, but when you reviewed the Twisted Metal games, you talked about the drivers. Yeah, I did, because the drivers have their individual wishes, and I think those are kind of interesting to play Twisted Metal for.
Yeah, like that's a little different because again, they actually have like different motives, but like what's Mario's motive?
And even then, there's games like Twisted Metal Black that are a bit more story focused than the other games. Like, because Twisted Metal Black, you have beginning, middle, end for each character, except for the unlockable characters, because David Jaffe ran out of fucking money.
Yeah.
I could just, I wish we had the Jaffe begging art. I need that money, I really do. I need that money to finish Axel's cutscenes okay.
Yeah.
Why don't I get the Russian Revolution mode with Bowser's Kingdom? Bowser as fucking Stalin? Are you fucking for real? Bowser
Did he actually write that?
No. No, I'm just imagining Bowser is like Joseph Stalin, where he's like killing his subordinates at the drop of a hat.
Yeah! He just has a gun.
All right, look, I'm going to start shooting these Yoshis. Bowser the Tsar.
Yeah.
We can have Bowser shooting Yoshis. No, not Yoshis. He needs to shoot Lumas.
Yes, he needs to just line them up and just have a firing squad of Koopas.
Bowser needs to just have a revolver and shoot Lumas.
Yeah,
in front of Rosalina.
Just have Rosalina watch so she can
just watch it horror.
Yeah.
Come on, Miyamoto, hire me for stories.
Yeah.
You could tell Bob would be like, yeah, that's a good idea.
No, he'd be like, put it in Sonic.
Oh, yeah, because he wants fucking Cream the Rabbit dead.
Yeah, he wants Eggman to shoot her with a revolver and just devour her corpse.
Eggman just goes, eat the daikimasu.
He just ate all of Sonic's friends and just looks like Kusuri again. Ooh, Chamadekimasu.
But yeah, now he's like going through all the characters and the enemies. It's like, Bob, use a fucking glossary. Seriously. Like, you stick a glossary at the end of the book, not in the middle of the book for that.
Yeah.
Like, when I read fucking books about astronomy, they usually put a fucking glossary at the end.
Yeah.
Specifically because, hey, there's some science terms that a kid may not know.
Yeah. It's like... That is kind of where you put all kind of, like, information that you kind of need to know, but not in this context. Like,
yeah, now he's just, like, talking about the thing, and it reads like a Wikipedia article now at this point, where it's like, the sprite is controlled by the player, Mario, in the context of the single-player analysis. Mario and Luigi in a two-player game is typically called the player, but for purposes of this writing, may alternately refer to as Mario or as a personification of the player or author himself. Read, me. Yeah, no shit.
Really?
Sprites representing certain creatures meant to serve as living obstacles to the player. Achieving his goals are enemies. Wow!
Damn.
I never knew that.
I didn't know.
This is like more like Captain Obvious than fucking Irate Gamers reviews at the time.
Yeah, honestly.
And they would really dip into Captain Obvious territory most of the time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Before Irate Gamer, like as we mentioned earlier, went off the fucking deep end.
Yep.
Yeah, Bob just looked at the enclosed instruction booklet and went from there.
Yep. It's just like...
I'm surprised Bob never mentioned Hotel Mario at all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, granted, that wasn't like a high-profile... You know, he never mentioned Mario was missing either.
Yeah, he wiped those from his memory, because if he
I can
does
totally see Bob being, like, super fucking disappointed in that game. Like, I'm surprised he didn't whine about how those betrayed him.
Like, I think he just struck them from the records, because if he didn't...
Because, like, I can see, like, Bob would at least have a legitimate argument in that case about those games being duped, because those games, to be fair, are like, falsely advertised.
Yeah.
Especially, like, Mario's Time Machine, where it's like, Mario has a time machine, that'll be cool!
And there's just fucking educational bullshit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, when did Sir Isaac Newton discover gravity? I'm supposed to be learning this in school.
I don't fucking know. The only gravity in Mario games should be me defying it by jumping.
It's like, I should jumping on Koopas, not having apples fall from trees for Sir Isaac Newton.
Yeah, fuck Isaac Newton.
The only Newtons I want are Fig Newtons right now.
Yeah.
Because I need to eat.
Yes.
And me MovieBob, me need to eat.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to this.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's just like, he's just really going about this. It's like, I remember Terrible Book Club also said, it feels like you're describing, Terrible Book Club basically said, like to paraphrase, that it feels like Bob's describing video games to someone's grandmother that is blind and has no idea what video games are.
Yeah.
Did we talk about the MovieBob McDonald's meal? Not really, but we showed the tweet.
Yeah, like, a good rule of writing, if you're writing about a topic, is to describe it to someone who has no idea what it is, but you still need to have some sort of, like, respect for their intelligence.
Yeah, Look, when I did my Twisted Metal reviews, for example, I figured, people know what video games are, but I described how the game operated to just give them an idea how the game controlled, because some people may have never played Twisted Metal, and I feel like the footage wouldn't be just enough. Or whenever I talked about Tekken, I talked about how innovative its control scheme was at the time.
Yeah.
Or Guilty Gear, how it's not traditional compared to Street Fighter, where, here's Gatlings. Or how Fantasy Strike totally fucking sucks as a teaching tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you have to do that. Like, you have to kind of, explain, the context of certain things. As for the book being almost done, we're not going to summarize the rest of the book at this point, because it's really not much to talk about at this point, because it's just him really endlessly, analyzing the game in the most surface way possible, which I'll describe a few passages in a bit. But it is just, this is just, the shittiest Wikipedia article. You get more information from, reading, any Wikipedia article, or, just any, any of those, retrospective magazines about Mario. I remember there was a Nintendo Power retrospective on Mario they did sometime in 2011 that is more informative about these games than this book ever will be.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Hell, like I said earlier in the video, James Rolfe's Mario 3 review is more informative than this book ever will be.
Oh.
And that's just him being, and that's Angry Video Game Nerd, too.
Yeah.
Where, the main thing is supposed to be entertainment, not education.
Yeah, he's literally just describing, what the feelings of the game was at the time. And spoiler alert, he didn't fucking compare it to fucking 9/11.
And spoiler alert, it also has silly lore in it that works, where he fights the devil with Super Mecha Death Christ.
Yeah, it ends up working because, it
It's
also plays into... Yeah, it's a joke, and it also plays into a theory that people have been, kind of, throwing around online for some time.
Yeah.
It's not wholly original sense, but it...
But yeah, it's just him now talking about the gameplay. Let me find him. Now he's just going through all the fucking map screen elements and enemies, and it's dude, use a fucking glossary. Seriously, this is just padding out the book.
Yeah, it's no one needs to really know this shit, and if they do, just have a separate section for it.
If you're gonna use this, this should have been a video at the very least.
Yeah, it would have worked as a video, possibly. Yeah,
because that's where you can list all the enemies, because that's kind of important. Some people might want to know about the enemies.
Yeah. Another thing is you could actually show what they look like. You don't have to waste a paragraph describing what each enemy looks like. You can just show them on the screen.
All right, here's Super Mario Brothers. Here's part 4, Super Mario Brothers 3, beginning to end. And here he has little diary entries, thrown written throughout the game. Which, honestly, these read like a Resident Evil, diary, the Keeper Diary.
Oh, God.
I'm expecting, at some point to read Itchy Tasty, honestly.
Oh, my God.
Monday, April 23rd, 2012. I have no great artistic rationale for why I chose to begin writing my playthrough tonight. Morning, technically, as it's 2:30 a.m. at present, but I've never been able to accept darkness and nighttime as not being one and the same. I am here, that is to say, my bedroom where the Wii is kept, because the wind and rain outside have inspired our family dog, Sprocket, to behave in the manner one expects of a dog during such weather, rendering work conditions untenable my usual office, also known as the living room after everyone else is asleep. And so my thinking goes, if I'm to move my workspace to my room anyway, it's as good a time as any to stop procrastinating on the Super Mario Bros. 3 project. Thus, here I am, here we are. Pathetic excuse for an air conditioner rattling in the background. Bedtime cocktail of Jack Daniels, Captain Morgan, and Schweppes at my side. Room lit only by the glows from the television and my laptop. So we begin.
Oh my God. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
This reminds me of that South Park episode where everyone... And then you have Broflovsky just tending to a glass of schnapps while he verbosely talks about the flavor of the Olive Garden.
But yeah, let me read the passage of level 1-1 because this is where he starts to try to analyze the game, and this is where it falls apart. The first level of a Mario game is traditionally designed to teach you by trial and error how the rest of the game is to be played. Shigeru Miyamoto, as I said, have postponed the design of the first game's level 1-1 until the team built the rest of them. So why would they know what skills is needed to impart? and to highlight what new has come to pass since last you visited the Mushroom Kingdom. As is customary, you begin as Mario in his miniature form and are met by a Goomba, which is the weakest of Bowser's endless cannon fodder army, essentially a scowling mushroom with oversized shoes, easily dispatched by jumping on it. You then encounter 4 question blocks. The 4th contains the mushroom to become the Super or Big Mario, and you get your first glimpse of a new classic variation of an enemy, a piranha plant that spits fireballs. Madness! Actually, it's called a Venus Fire Trap, our introduction to Super Mario Bros. 3's recurring penchant for puns. You also encounter your first chance to try on a new form of enemy-object interaction, picking up the shell of the first Koopa Troopa that you encounter and using it to whack a question block situated on the ground. The first instance of such block placement in the series' history, provided you are still Big Mario at this point. The block will yield a Super Leaf, and you will become the iconic Raccoon Mario for the first time. Taking flight into the sky, I still remember what a thrill that was to pull it off the first time. The game brilliantly understanding how much more satisfying it is having to get a running start to execute the move. I would also like to point out, because I haven't pointed out at this point, this book's grammar is really fucking bad. Like, it is clear, like, this book clearly does not have an editor.
Yeah.
So, if I do jumble my words, sometimes it's worth pointing out, this book is just written that fucking badly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You'll find yourself hovering blocks, smiling clouds, and a 1-up, extra life for your trouble. Back down below, the familiar paratroopers, winged troopas, make their return to the series. And after traversing a pair of pits and 2 more piranha plant-inhabited pipes, you come upon a stack of bricks that, when struck by a well-tossed shell, produce a P-switch. Read Big Blue Button, which, when pressed, briefly transforms all bricks in the area into coins, an effect which will form the basis of more elaborate puzzles in a few levels to come. A few more jumps, a few more enemies, and the level concludes. Short and not terribly challenging, but we've now been introduced to the essentials of Super Mario Bros. 3 gameplay. Most notably, the fact that Bowser's minions have developed new strains since we last saw them, and the ability to fly under the right circumstances mean that the sky beyond the visible screen may hold secrets of its own. The level itself holds Quixotic secrets.
What the fuck?
As well, the stage motif from the title screen here is repeated, with the large colored blocks casting shadows and seemingly bolted to the backdrop. The jarring transition into a stark black shadow space to mark the end goal. You may also take note of the lone white platform among the other colorful examples. Should you choose to crouch down on it for a few seconds, Mario will actually fall into the backdrop and be able to move behind the scenery, a graphical trick glimpsed into the intro and soon to become quite vital. Now, you can argue, well, how's this bad? He's doing some analysis. It's surface level, but hey, he's talking about what makes the first level tick. And to be fair, I'd say he does an okay job here. It's not as detailed as Egoraptor's sequel, Itis on Mega Man X.
I do want to point out he had to explain what enemies were, but he didn't. He didn't have to explain what Quetzalcoatl or whatever the fuck he said.
Quixotic, as in Don Quixote.
Okay, Quixotic. He didn't explain like Quixotic, but he felt the need to explain what enemies are in a game.
Yeah, like this book assumes you read Don Quixote.
Yeah, like that's why I was confused. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
I don't even know what he's meaning by that, because it's like, why would I compare this to Don fucking Quixote? Like, Don Quixote is a classic of Spanish literature, but it's like, what the fuck does Don Quixote have to do with Mario?
It's like, for me, it's like, you felt the need to put that in, because I assume you're targeting this to people who only really read books, yet don't play video games. But I have a feeling even they could comprehend, oh yeah, enemy you have overcome, without you having to fucking explain it.
It's just such a random, like, that'd be like me making a Twisted Metal review. It's like, man, this is like the most Hemingway way to destroy enemies.
Like, it just feels like he's jerking himself off with
yeah,
that.
It's like, man, this is the Lovecraftian Twisted Metal.
Yeah, see ya, Blacksmith.
See ya, Blacksmith. Have a good night. Have a good night.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me go hit up another random thing, because this gets to the point where he really fucking fails at analyzing the game. Level 2-4. This one. This is where the point where Super Mario Bros. 3 begins to merge the time foot race level design of the first game with the exploration-oriented multi-path experience of the American Super Mario Bros. 2. It's a 2-path level. A lower path... Okay, no, he's still analyzing it. Let me find another one. Because he's still, like, talking about, like, things where they, like, you know, introduce new gimmicks.
The problem with trying to go through this fucking book is that just... all the fucking passages feel so fucking.
Yeah, like they all read the same. And again, it's just Mario 3. Like you have passages that are literally, I jumped over the Goomba, I kicked the Koopa shell. Like, yeah. I know Terrible's Book Club said the same thing, but it's like, that's because it's literally what this is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's just like, you can't, like, I'm not going to write a book on how Twisted Metal is a great series, because it will be like, I drove Sweet Tooth, and then I shot Roadkill with the flaming ice cream cone, and then I dodged Mr. Grimm's Soul Scream.
It reminds me of this old comic that I read. Like, how the fuck would you turn Gears of War into a book? Chapter 1, he shoots a gun. Chapter 2, he shoots another gun.
There was a review I read of this book on Goodreads where someone was talking about the Halo 1 novelization, where someone that wrote the Halo 1 novelization only really wrote about jumping and shooting because that's all he saw in the game. Whereas this book's touting itself as like the definitive like analysis of video games, and it's just Mario's jumping on enemies and collecting coins.
Yeah.
But it's trying to act like it's some great, like, video game analysis, and it's like, no, it's not. This reads like a fucking something awful Let's Play.
It really
with,
does.
like, the shittiest grammar possible. Like, there's a typo in this book that says, I should have been in a video game I loved.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Like, it's like, I can't read the rest of this, because it's just, like, it's just him talking about Mario. And there is, like, the diary entries are the only thing that are really interesting. Because Bob's going through some stressful bits of this, and like he's using Mario 3 to help alleviate that, which is fine, you know. Hey, video games can help out during like stressful situations. Because he's talking about during the time he was writing this book, his grandmother passed away, which is an understandable tragedy, and I do give Bob my condolences, 100%.
Yeah.
Like this is not a backhanded compliment. I do give him 100% condolences. Like that sucks, man. Like 100%.
Yeah.
And Mario 3 was clearly one of the things that did help him get through that. Yeah. And, you know, that's fine. Like, 100% fine, Bob. Like...
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong. Like, it helps you, like, overcome, like, dark moments in your life. That's totally fine, Bob. 100%. But then there's, like, other passages that make me kind of, like, go, okay, Bob, you're fucking lying. Because there's bits where Bob's talking about how he had burned, like, 5,000 fucking calories on a workout.
Like, no, bullshit. No, I can tell you...
That's not how it's like Bob after that. Nothing like a good workout.
Yeah, it's like, again, as someone who does work out, let me say this. Okay, an hour on the elliptical machine.
Okay, it wasn't 5,000 calories, it was 1,700 calories. But okay, that's still a massive fucking calorie.
That is still bullshit. Again, as someone who, you know, does work out, You can burn 1,000 calories in an hour, but that involves like going on fucking at like the highest setting, and something tells me Bob wasn't doing that, and that's only 1,000.
Yeah,
it's only 1,000.
No, 1,700 is what he said.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm pointing out.
Like, that's like the average like recommended calorie intake is like what 2,000.
Yeah.
Like that's like basically a whole day's worth of food.
Yeah, and it's like you can burn 1,000 in a day in like an hour, but it will leave you worn the fuck out. But again, it's something tells me Bob didn't actually burn 1,700.
The only workout Bob did was going to the fridge to get his drinks.
Yeah, honestly,
I know someone's gonna be like, "Oh man, why are you going for the cheap shot of him having food?" It's like if you're gonna make a claim that you're working out, but you burn 17,000 calories, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go for the fucking cheap shots.
Yeah, that is fucking like, bullshit.
Bob has like, if you look at all the pictures of Bob, he's been ballooning ever since. And there's again, I'm not trying to say Bob's bad for being fat. Far from it. Like I have a bit of a beer gut myself. Like I'm not exactly thin by any means. But it is like, I'm not going to claim, oh yeah, I work out all the time, I'm super ripped, the ladies love me. Like, because that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's just, it just feels like a weird flex for this Mario book to show like, yeah, I'm super active while I play Mario.
I'm buff like Mario.
I'm going to be toughest in the universe, just like Super Mario.
Just the idea. Imagine if Bob had Paul Phoenix as his idol.
That'd be amazing.
Just Bob would have the Paul Phoenix hair. I was about to say, what if Bob idolized Tyler Durden? But I did read one of his blog posts where he used to be like Tyler Durden. Like, granted, he knew Tyler Durden was the villain of the movie, but he used to be like, he's got some slight points. But now he's like, no, Tyler Durden's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Bob never necessarily like 100% missed the point to Fight Club. I'll give him that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Just the idea of MovieBob being this Andrew Tate figure seems like the most hilarious thing to me, though. Look, you're never going to get any princesses unless you follow the Mario workout routine.
I get all the ladies because I play Super Mario Brothers, not watch Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't watch none of that kiddie anime. I play Mario. Oh, and hey, we got the Twisted Metal footage again. Yay.
Oh, yeah. Are there any other thoughts we can really give this book?
Like, again, like, this thing is just meandering, even to this point. Like, the reason why we meander is because this fucking book meanders. It's really hard to talk about this thing with a straight face, because it's just, everything about this book is how you don't analyze media, period.
Oh, absolutely. It's just so many just like long-winded, just meticulous explanations of things that really don't need that much depth to be explained. And then he just throws in a big word to try and...
Like, he tries to make Mario sound bigger than he actually is. Like, again, he calls Shigeru Miyamoto an iconoclast.
Yeah.
Which is the most ridiculous word I've ever heard for Shigeru Miyamoto.
Absolutely.
Like, that would be like calling John Romero an iconoclast for making Doom.
Or if I call the creator of Hatred an iconoclast, which I'm not going to.
Is it like the people that made Hatred, like, also are, like, neo-Nazis or some shit?
Are they?
I don't know.
I don't know, and oh god, I hope I didn't give $2 to that.
No, I don't think they are.
Okay, good.
I feel like I've read something like from a. I'm just going by like very faulty memory of something from like 7 years ago.
And it's like, people were saying everything about that.
Like, Hatred is like one of those games where it is like, I understand the controversy of that, because you just fucking, the whole point is, I just want to kill people.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not, I'll save this for another.
Like, Hatred is one of those games that's fucking garbage. Like, I know someone's gonna go, oh, that's because you got your opinions from other people. I'm looking at the gameplay, it looks like the dullest shit I've ever seen.
I played it, it sucks.
Like, it's like, why would I play a game that relies too much on the controversy to sell when there's no good gameplay to back it up?
Like, it's not even like Postal or GTA where it's like satirical. It's just pointless fucking nihilism.
Yeah,
but
it's just literally, like, it just looks like people I knew in high school would be like, life sucks, and then you die. Like, people that said that shit unironically and seriously believe that shit. It's like, you guys are the most boring fucking people to be around, because all you do is whine about how much life sucks.
Yeah,
it's a game if it was made by Zor from the Sonic Lost World.
Oh god, it is. I'm glad you brought that. Oh god. But I'll save my thoughts on Hatred for another.
We'll talk about that when we talk about games that rely too much on controversy, because that is going to be an interesting podcast down the line.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah,
because that means we get to talk about BMX Triple X.
Yeah. Again, this is just our Ant-Man and the Wasp.
We're just building up several podcasts, but it's because, again, there's a lot of things you can talk about when it comes to video games.
Absolutely.
And we can't fit them all in on this thing about Bob Chipman's insanity.
For real.
This book just sucks. Like, don't read it. Do not. Like, Bob Chipman disowned it for a reason. Like, because this book is just rambling nonsense. If you want to take a look at Bob's stuff, just watch his movie reviews. He does a better job at analyzing movies, and he does so in a very concise manner. Like, most of his regular movie reviews are 10 minutes long. The only things that are really longer stuff, like Really That Good, where he goes into detail of the movie. But he does a good job with that. Like, I've seen a few of his Really That Goods. He does a good job with those, 100%.
Really the only ones I wouldn't recommend are Pixels and his...
I'd recommend the Pixels to an extent, because that did get, like, viral at the time. And it is just a good example to see, like, if Bob hates a work, it's interesting to see. Like,
Yeah,
watch
I'll
Revenge of
do
the
that.
Fallen. Revenge of the Fallen's a review I'd recommend.
I just say don't bother with his Sonic one. Clear, he just
don't
has
bother
a
with the Sonic ones, because
for
it's clear Bob is biased because it's not Mario.
Yeah, absolutely. It just feels like, again, it's not Mario.
Like, if you want a good example of what Bob can do, watch his Big Picture on The Critic, where he actually does a good job analyzing the culture of the show.
Yeah.
And also watch some of his Simpsons reviews. They actually aren't too bad. Like, he does a good job talking about, like, how he feels about The Simpsons. And it's an interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, like, again, MovieBob is not, like, untalented. He got...
Yeah, Bob has a lot of potential as a creator, 100%.
Yeah, it is just get off Twitter, Bob, honestly.
Yeah, Bob,
I got off Twitter.
Stop tweeting about how much you hate the working class. Like, it's just not going to help you, and it's like, it's getting in the way of making your actual reviews. Like, I know someone's to say, oh, it's because you don't take a side or some shit like that. It's like, no, it's just because Bob has really extreme opinions that I don't agree with.
Yeah, and it's just, it really is kind of similar to Sessler, because both of them feel like, I feel they seem to really fucking hate the working class.
And it's like, there's like this weird sense of entitlement that they feel that they are owed.
Yeah, and it's like, you fucking talk about video games and movies. What are you owed?
Like, I'm not a big fan of, like, some of, like, people in office, obviously, but that's like, I don't let them live rent-free in my head.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what can I really do other than, you know, occasionally vote or shit like that?
Yeah, it's like...
It's like,
I'm sorry. I can understand getting political during, like, nice Mario 3 moment.
Shit happens.
Yeah. But I get, you know, like, maybe talking, you know, like, talking about some of this stuff when the time arises, but he'll just have, like, the most, like, out-of-pocket takes. Like, again, the eugenics one, which really came out of nowhere. Like, and it's like...
It's really worth pointing out that people on both sides said it dislike MovieBob. Like, you obviously have, like, the gamer gators dislike him because, he is against, like, he has things to say about gamers. And it's like, shut the fuck up. And it is worth pointing out Bob did, like, White Knight Eddie to Sarkisian a little heavily.
Yeah, pretty too heavily, I'd say.
But I'd argue there was more to it than, like, Bob. Granted, Bob also found, like, her videos anticlimactic, which I kind of agree with Bob. Like, they're really not that worth getting worked up over. Like, she makes research mistakes, but it's like people really acted like she was the video game boogeyman. And I'm like...
Yeah, I agree, honestly.
It's like the way people act about her ended up sometimes justifying her points.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
but that's just people... That's just reactionary chuds being reactionary chuds.
Yeah, it is straight making a mountain out of a molehill.
There were people that had like, because I'm not saying any of the Sarkeesian's 100% innocent, because she said other problematic shit too.
Oh yeah.
Like she had like her views on the action girl trope. She's like, well, it's a sexist fantasy. I'm like, how are girls kicking ass a sexist fantasy?
Like again, what do you want them to do then?
It's like. Well, like, because, I mean, I get she abhors violence. Like, I abhor violence in real life, obviously.
Well, yeah,
but it's still, like, fictional violence is different than real violence. Like, I'll play Twisted Metal, but if you're to hand me a gun, I'm not going to shoot somebody.
It's like... So, okay, you can't have, like... So what? Do you just not want women in, like, action fiction roles? That seems a little sexist. I'm
and
not
she
gonna
had
lie.
like really problematic shit to say about sex workers too. It's like, it's like, is it being a feminist also to an extent that you can be sex positive too?
Yeah, it's like
it's just something I want to point out. Because it's like, again, like, there are people that are cam girls by their own volition, not because they're, like, yeah, you can argue, well, the porn industry is exploitive. You know, that's fair. Like, there are certain parts about the porn industry that are kind of fucked. But there are also some people that just start on OnlyFans because they're like, hey, I feel sexy about my body and I want to show it off.
Yeah.
And, you know, if people have that confidence,
empowering women kind of something you want to do. And like, I'm not trying to be like, yeah, show me your...
Like, it's just, if you want to do it, you just do what you want to fucking do. That's, like, the whole point of living your fucking life.
Yeah, it's like, again, that's just, like, a basic thing. Like, isn't slut-shaming, like, wrong?
Yeah, and it's also, like, worth pointing out when it came to Bob's, like, defense. Like, look, that's the fucking, that's the wrong thing. Let's go to Bob Chipman's tweets. Like, because Bob has a tendency to, like, again, not only White Knight and Sarkeesian, but he also did that with Lindsay Ellis famously one time, which I have the tweet in here. As we see, there's Bob as Captain N, here ready to fight the Chuds.
Get ready to fight the gamers off with his NES. Oh, yo, no, it's Sweep.
Yo. But yeah, it's like with MovieBob, it's like, let's see. Oh yeah, the famous grow up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is MovieBob gonna do some Steven Seagal moves on people? Has he talked about, but yeah, right here is like the fucking like Lindsay Ellis bit where like he was like, look, we're friends, and Lindsay Ellis had to tell him, dude, fuck off. I only met you at a convention.
Yeah, I think she retracted that eventually, but
I thought she blocked Bob. I mean, granted, a lot of chuds like the quartering also like started using that as like evidence of, look, we owned Bob, but it is like worth pointing out, Bob tends to really see friends in areas where it's like merely acquaintances at best.
Yeah, I'm not going to assume the worst, but it's also kind of...
It's one of those bits where it's like Bob kind of... I would just say Bob got a little too attached from that and thought something more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Bob... Like, Bob, for what it's worth, he does, like, tastefully done fan service, but I feel like that's fair for him to do. Like, I mean...
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be hypocritical for me to call him out on fan service, because I enjoy me some cheesecake every now and then.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, like, especially... Like, I agree with Bob. It has to be tastefully done anyway.
Yeah. So,
but don't read this fucking book if you're a fan of Bob Chipman, that's fine. Like, I like some of his videos every now and then.
Oh, one more thing though.
Oh yeah.
One other thing I gotta say now. Watch is Build Better. It will piss you off.
Oh, building a better gamer. I've honestly kind of come to really coming around on, but there's a reason for that. And it boiled down to us doing the fucking G4 podcast last week.
Yeah,
it feels like it's a product of its time par excellence, but goddamn did he need to say that at the time.
I feel, to an extent, you're right, but he does a very bad job.
Oh, no, I agree. Like, Bob is not the person that should really be dispensing this advice, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of feel like Bob got really pissed off at, like, because keep in mind, that video came out, like, what, 2009, 2010?
Yeah.
And we're currently in the year 2023. Like, that's a 13-year-old video.
Yeah.
So gaming culture was, like, vastly different then.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to point out Bob was employed by Screw Attack, which at the time was, like, under the leadership of Stutter and Craig. But, man, these two are, like, on the exact opposites of the end of the horseshoe now.
Oh, yeah.
So that, like, because I don't think I've mentioned this, but Bob kind of proves how I feel horseshoe theory is kind of correct.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's good evidence for the horseshoe theory. Where it's like, look at MovieBob, then look at people like Razor Fist or Stuttering Craig.
Yeah, and it's like, y'all, you're fucking crazy. You are all fucking crazy. It doesn't matter what side you're on. You're just...
Well, I mean, there are some people that are, like, fine that happen to be, like... It's more when you devote to an extreme, that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm not talking about anyone with these beliefs. I'm talking about, the ones you just...
Oh, yeah, those people. Okay, yeah. It just sounded very vague.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like it just sounded like we were going, there are both sides, which is like, we're obviously not advocating, like, just dismissing everything as noise, because that's a bad idea.
I'm not doing that.
Like, we're not being, like, full on Trey and Matt at times.
Yeah, I'm just saying that...
Yeah, MovieBob and Craig, you guys are fucking crazy.
Yeah, all three of you are fucking crazy, and I don't want...
Also, Razor Fist, stop your fucking vendetta against Kojima. It's not making your videos interesting to watch. Thank you. People that want... Thank you. You'll take this advice.
Yeah, no,
he's never going to watch this, and if he does, he'll just probably complain about that one shot I gave at him in my Twisted Metal retrospective.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I mean, if he fires a shot at me, it's not a big fucking deal. It's like, it's like, who fucking cares?
Not gonna lie, I'd laugh my ass off if Craig, like, tried taking a shot at me.
Oh, if Craig took a shot at me, I'd laugh my ass off and feel honored.
Yeah, honestly, it's just like, okay, cool.
Because I felt honored when Adam Sessler blocked me on Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bob, if you're watching this, I mean, I'm not, like, trying to be that mean to you. Like, there's a few insults I did volley, but I did try to avoid being, like, too harsh on you. Because, again, I do have some respect for you, Bob. Like, I think you have great potential as a reviewer. I just feel like you misplace it sometimes. Just hear me out on that, Bob, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And like honestly, I feel Adam Sessler also belongs in the horseshoe theory of like MovieBob's side because he's closer to.
I would argue MovieBob's like much more tolerable than Adam Sessler.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too, though. But of the four, he is
like Adam Sessler's the worst. Like Adam Sessler is like.
I meant MovieBob is the most tolerable.
Yeah, like MovieBob, you can watch his review mainly because like MovieBob actually tries to be analytical with his reviews, and his reviews actually are helpful.
Yeah, whereas like Adam will just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm an owl."
Adam will be like, "Oh, this game." Like Adam, we've mentioned everything about Adam, but it's like a lot of his reviews will either have some degree of actual racism or like ableism / homophobia.
Yeah, but then nowadays it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm an ally."
It's like,
huge fucking racist.
Yeah, you're an ally, all right, to the KKK.
Honestly.
Anyway.
Is that a good point to end this, Orange?
I think it is. Like, let's just kind of sum up this book. But yeah, this book's just a fucking mess. It fails at analysis. It fails at everything. Just, it's better as a biography. And if you ever want to write one of those, Bob, I'd love to read it down the line. Like, not even to make fun of it. I'd like to read a biography of you down the line. Like, just seriously. Like, unironically, because I did feel some interest in it. Because it's like, there are some bits where I can kind of sympathize with you. Because, hey, we all had our moments growing up that were kind of troublesome. And we found release in video games. And I'm pretty sure people would love to read that, like 100%. Like I'm being sincere. I'm not even trying to mock you, Bob. Like it is easy to laugh at some of the hyperbolic statements, but hey, you've said you disown the book, and hey, it's been about 10 years. I think you could retry writing the biography with, 10 years of experience. You can have better analytical side of things, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm not saying you should try writing a book on Mario 3, but I'd like to read a book about your childhood or, like, your biography. Like, you would probably talk about how Mario 3 was a big deal to you as a kid. Like, you wouldn't probably throw in a comparison to 9/11, but you'd say, hey, it was a big fucking deal to me. It was like seeing a man land on the moon.
Like, honestly, I am actually a huge fan of, like, hearing, like, these old stories about, like, people.
Yeah, like, because again,
I actually like it.
It's an interesting perspective. Like, I'd like to read it. Like, 100%. If you ever see this, Bob, just know, hey, while I did make fun of this book, it is, like, ultimately, I do say, I believe you can do an autobiography justice. 100%. And also to my viewers, please do not harass Bob Chipman. Don't fucking do it. Be a bigger man. Don't do it. Do not fucking harass him.
We say it all the time, but that remains true.
Like, don't harass anybody. Like, really don't. It just makes you an asshole.
Yeah, and I don't say any shit to try to impress us. Like that's
like don't do it. That happened with Chris Chan. People tried trolling Chris Chan excessively, and guess what? Chris Chan's now in jail.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can argue, well, that was eventually going to happen. Yeah, I'd agree to an extent, but their mental state deteriorated thanks to people constantly trolling them. Don't fucking do it.
Yeah, please don't fucking do it.
Like, be the better man. Anyway, this is New Video Order. Next week, join us for when we discuss video game cartoons next Saturday.
We won't have to tell anyone not to harass anyone that time.
Yeah, we'll just talk about video game cartoons. See you all next time. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.